for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Good morning, 3 minutes past 6 o'clock. It is Monday, August the 18th, and the Premier League is very, very much back. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online. All the few clicks, they make buying your next car easy. I'm Jeff Stelling. I'm delighted to say joining us from Glasgow is Ally McCoist. Morning, Coisty.
Oh, very good morning, you, Jeff. How are you this morning? Good weekend?
Yeah, I'm good. Have you woken up after being at the Villa Newcastle game?
It was torture, wasn't it?
It was.
I must admit, I can't remember being to a game where I couldn't see that happening. I mean, I thought we were guaranteed goals. I thought it'd be a good game, and it was the complete opposite. I thought Villa were poor, really poor first half, Jeff. They came into it a bit second half, but it'd have been difficult for them not to play better in the second half than they did in the first. And I thought Newcastle were a little bit unlucky not to take the 3 points, mate.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. One of those weekends, of course, there was so much to watch. Premier League, EFL, the golf, which was incredible. I'm sure later on we'll touch on Scotty Scheffler and how intimidating he is in the big tournaments.
Wee Bob.
You know?
Wee Bob.
Well, I felt for him because he's clawed his way back into it, really.
I know.
And on the 17th, Scheffler, pitches in from off the green, So.
It's funny though, Jeff. I don't know about you, but I'm watching it and I'm following it, and I was never convinced that wee Bob was going to do it. You know what I mean? You know that way with Scheffler. He's just got that kind of. I'm not sure he's got the same fear factor yet that Woods had, but he's not far short of it.
No, I completely agree. As the boxing as well, I took a couple of hours off Coisty on Saturday evening just to get away from the sport. We sat and watched the last Bridget Jones film, and it was a merciful relief. It was a merciful relief.
Well, you could have watched the boxing because that would only take about 5 minutes out of your time.
Yeah, I know. And look, He's just a kid in boxing terms, isn't he? And he never really goes beyond 2 rounds.
Oh,
but you have to wonder who of the big boys, who's going to want to fight him.
I know. He looks. I mean, you listen to the guys. I must admit, I listened to our coverage on talkSPORT, Jeff, which was excellent. Spencer doing the commentary and Gareth Davis and the boys, and it was excellent. And each one of them, to a man, we're loath to get carried away, but they said he really looks a real deal. And I've got to say, having watched that again in some of his previous fights, as you say, a young man certainly going right to the top, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And poor old Dillian White, I felt for him. But it's all about the Premier League really at the moment. Back this weekend on talkSPORT, very much the place to be.
34th Premier League season is off and underway, and it is live on talkSPORT. Right foot shot! You bet he sealed it! Mo Salah does what he does best! Liverpool have beaten Bournemouth by 4-2.
It's taken down Gordon, and Conte's going to be sent off. Full time at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0.
They've lifted the roof off at the Stadium of Light, Mickey Gray.
Sunderland 3, West Ham 0.
Troy Deeney is up on his feet, applauding his former teammate Richarlison. It is a brilliant overhead kick. Bang! What a finish.
This corner for Fulham will surely be their last chance.
Oh, oh goodness gracious me! Muniz has done it!
Brighton 1, Fulham 1.
Wolves have lost 9 of their previous 10 Premier League games against City, make that 10 out of 11. Wolves 0, City 4.
Chris Wood has scored his second of the game.
You won't see a better pass than that all season from Elliot Anderson.
Keith Andrews, the worst possible start. Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 1.
How much longer will he be a Crystal Palace player? Eberechi Eze, he has just thundered in a free kick. They've disallowed the goal. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0.
And surprise, surprise, Manchester United have conceded from a corner with victory against one of their historic rivals. It finishes Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1.
The Premier League is back in session.
And what a start it was Friday night. Whew. Liverpool 4, Bournemouth 2, game of the weekend. I don't think there's much doubt about that. Brilliant. And then Villa and Newcastle stinking the place out, and Coisty, you giving Fabian Schär man of the match because of 2 good crossfield passes.
It was a toss of the coin. I had to give it to Schär for his two crossfield passes, or I was going to give it to Dan Burn for 2 tackles.
Yeah. Sunderland battering West Ham, City thumping Wolves, and I think we should put in here as well that Tottenham beat a Burnley side, but what a couple of great goals they scored during the course of the afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
So, and, of course, Arsenal leaving Old Trafford with all 3 points. Not many plaudits, but all 3 points. Despite that, the United boss Ruben Amorim saw plenty of positives.
The price of playing for this club, you have to win no matter what, and people just are going to look for the results. But I struggled a lot last season, but I'm really proud of my players, and if they play like this, I will defend my players until the end. So I'm really proud. I think the fans are really proud, but in the end we need to win. So it's one step closer to win games, I think. So let's try to win the next one.
Coisty, did you feel they are one step closer to winning games?
I definitely thought they were better, Jeff, and particularly in attacking areas. I think the new signings will certainly, make them better to watch, and, as I say, in wide and central areas up front. Arsenal, I hear what you're saying. Arsenal I was looking for more from Arsenal. It's a great result for Arsenal, right? That's the first thing we've got to say. But in general play, I was a little bit disappointed in them. I perhaps want to see more. But the argument, and it's a fair argument, they did what they had to do, and they do what they do. Another set play already, another corner, which the goalkeeper didn't cover himself in glory. But from United's point of view, I think I can accept that from Amorim. I can, because I think they were certainly better yesterday than a lot of their performances last season, Jeff. So, and I think it's very early to start judging any team for this season. But effectively they lost the game again. But I think the new signings look good. I think Mbeumo's going to be a good player for them. And I think there was a lot of the aspects of their game where I was impressed. But again, no points, which would be disappointing.
Without being too harsh towards Bayern, dear, the truth is, Ali, isn't it? If the team swap goalkeepers, then United win.
I think you're probably right, mate. I think David Raya. It's amazing, isn't it? It seems like yesterday we were all up in arms about Ramsdale and all that stuff and the goalkeeping situation at Arsenal. And you have to say it looks very much like Arteta's decision in his own mind to change goalkeeper was the correct one. Certainly from his point of view and Arsenal's point of view. And you're right. I probably don't think it is harsh to say the difference between the sides was the goalkeeper.
Yeah. And slightly worryingly for Andre Onana, after the game, Ruben Amorim said there were 2 players ahead of Onana. So Altay Bayindir and Tom Heaton. Could be a long way back for him. For Arsenal, then, new number 9, Victor Gyökeres struggled on his debut, but Alan Pardew thinks it's far too early to be judging him.
He had a couple of moments when he trod on the ball, didn't he, in the second half, and just before he got subbed. And there was a couple of other occasions where he perhaps should have done better. He'd done a bit of link-up play that was, I thought, reasonable. In fairness to him, he had this long period of sitting out training at Sporting Lisbon to get the move. Mm-hmm. And I don't think, it looks to me like he needs to have a lot of work in. And maybe Arteta thought, it's best to start him, get some minutes under his belt, just keep playing him. It is sometimes the fastest way to get a player back.
Yeah, he's not going to look back on the game with any sort of affection, is he? That's for sure. But he had precious few opportunities to shine, in fairness.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, obviously, from his personal point of view, it wasn't an ideal debut in terms of his own performance. The most important thing is his team won. He got, what was it, about an hour before the substitutions get made and Havertz come on, maybe for a little bit more, whatever it was. Listen, there'll be far more to come from him this season. I certainly, if we're not going to judge teams in one game, I'm certainly not going to judge a new signing in one player, in one game.
United fans, let's hear from you. Despite the loss, were there signs that Ruben Amorim has turned things around? Can you be happy with a loss at home? And we've already heard from one Arsenal fan. It's Scott. Says it's going to be a tough morning for Jeff. He might have to say something nice about Manchester United. Now, Scott, where were you last week when I predicted that Manchester United would finish in a Champions League spot this season? Wasn't that nice? Yeah. And I thought there were encouraging signs in that game, that is for sure. Cunha was outstanding as the game went on in particular.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, and Mbeumo started off like his life depended on it, which was brilliant. Steve the Hammer says, we, West Ham United, we'll talk about them later, could have Pep Guardiola in charge and still not win anything until we get rid of Supermarket Dave. He wants Harrods players at little prices, but sometimes he does get a club card bargain. Not enough of them, not judging on the basis of Saturday. And a Leeds fan, Sam, the Leeds fan bin man, says, as a Leeds fan, I'm genuinely excited and nervous about the new season. I believe survival isn't out of our reach. Teams losing their top players around us. We're finally back in the big time with some shrewd signings and a manager who deserves his chance. And we'll talk about Leeds against Everton a little later. Of course, it is live on talkSPORT tonight. It might take some encouragement from Sunderland's result of the weekend.
Well, wasn't that a great result? Do you know what I loved about it as much as anything, Jeff? A kind of throwback to the extent, just a couple of crosses into the box, a couple of great headers, and you're 2-0 up. There was no... I mean, they obviously try to play a bit of football as well, but sometimes you get the ball in the wide area. Just get into the box and see what happens.
Yeah, they got a bit of pace going forward as well, haven't they?
Yeah, particularly on the counter for that third goal. You're absolutely right, mate. A tremendous result. What a start for them.
Brilliant result. And I tell you what, we'll talk about them later on as well, but their fixtures at this stage of the season, it's easy to read things. But they've got Burnley, for instance, next, and then I think Brentford after that. They've got a great chance of getting points on the scoreboard early doors to just relieve a bit of that pressure and give them self-belief if they need it. They didn't look like they needed it on Saturday. They looked like they had plenty of self-belief.
Full of confidence.
Arsenal fans, are you concerned about Gyökeres? Is Alan Pardew right? He just needs time. Of course he's right. 03717 223344. Get involved this morning. A reminder, Leeds against Everton tonight on talkSPORT. Coming up, we turn our attention to the back pages and the future of Eberechi Eze. Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with us in Glasgow this morning. Apologies if you've just woken up to that. I know it's an awful way to get out of bed, isn't it? That was Grace Kelly by the Lebanese pop star Mika, who turns 42 today. Coisty, are you a Mika fan?
Well, you're going to be delighted to know I couldn't hear that, mate. There's always been a problem with the music when I do it from Glasgow, with the music right after the news, and it looks like that was one of the best things that can going to happen to me today. I did not hear that. So in answer to your question, she's not. Is Mika a female?
No, a man. His real name's Michael.
A man. Okay. Well, I don't have any of Michael's work in my collection yet. Yeah, to be quite frank with you, and I'm guessing you don't too.
Just as well, mate. Just as well. Right, let's take a look ahead, shall we now, with today's back pages and Tesco Mobile for Business.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle baking bread? Improve your take-home dough with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
And Shaban is back with us. Morning, Shaban.
A very good morning to you
Morning,
both.
Shaban.
Good weekend. Have a nice time.
Just sat and watched football and golf and more football and golf.
So, yeah, your idea of Christmas then?
No, honestly, I said to Coisty, I watched a couple of hours of the last Bridget Jones movie on Saturday night, and what a relief it was to have something that wasn't football, golf or boxing,
A breakaway, fair enough. OK, back pages for you today. All the focus, of course, on yesterday's action. The Sun is going for Ruben in a flap. That's their headline. By the way, you can get the goals pull out in the Sun today, every Monday morning in the Sun. As the Premier League is back, all the roundup of the action from the Premier League this weekend. Back page of the Times, they're going for United rue Baynder blunder. Bayinder's getting all the blame today. Baynder blunders is back page of the Guardian Sport. The Mirror going for Ruben in a flap. Amarine says Arsenal goal should have been ruled out for foul on error-prone goalkeeper Baynder. And weak and soft is the back page of the Daily Mail. Amarine also backs blunderkeeper is the headline in the Telegraph. It's that time now, Jeff, where these teams have spent big money. Blame Baynder. OK, it was a goalkeeping howler, but is he all to blame today?
Yeah. And of course he is. I mean, he lost them the game. It's as simple as that. At the end of the day, it's harsh, but that's what happens if you're a goalkeeper. You make a mistake, you can cost your side the game. If you're an outfield player, you make a mistake, it generally doesn't cost your side the game. But I think, look, we've talked about Manchester United goalkeepers, that Onana is too error-prone as well. And I've said all along that I don't think Donnarumma will go to Manchester United. But if I'm Ruben Amorim this morning, I'm banging on the doors of whoever he needs to bang on it and saying, we need a new goalkeeper. We know Donnarumma is available. It's going to cost a fortune in terms of wages. But, our goalkeeper's less valuable than outfield players? Not in my view, Coisty.
No, far from it. You can argue it's the most important position in the side. It's certainly the most unique position in the team. So you've got to get that right. And I think you're right, Jeff, because the one thing that about Donnarumma is he's available, right? And I hear what you're saying, but if you are going to make some serious noises and some serious intentions of improving your team and moving forward, then you need to get your goalkeeping position right. We spoke about it already. The one thing that Arteta did that raised a few eyebrows, mine included, was when he brought Raya in, when Ramsdale was the number one. And boy, does that decision, look to tick a box right now. So Man United have got a problem and have had a problem with their goalkeeping situation. They seem to have addressed, when I say they seem to have addressed, they look to me as though they've, maybe focused a little bit in forward areas. Well, they certainly have in terms of recruitment this summer. But they're going to have a problem unless they get the goalkeeping situation sorted.
There was an exclusive yesterday in the Sun saying that Man United are in talks perhaps with Fiorentina over buying David De Gea out of his contract. Would you rather see Donnarumma or De Gea at Manchester United?
Donnarumma for me.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. Don't go back.
Yeah, you can't go back to De Gea. You just can't,
No.
Why why did they let him go in the first place? Because they thought he wasn't good enough at the time. They thought he was past his best, and I think he's been pretty decent, hasn't he, at Fiorentina?
Yeah.
But they can't possibly go back in for him.
Okay.
No, that no chance, man.
Interesting. Okay, some of the quotes from Ruben Amorim doing the rounds on socials this morning. The main thing is we weren't boring, was one of his quotes, which did tickle me. Is that the main thing for Man United this season?
No. No, the main thing is picking up points and trying to get into the Champions League places. That's the main thing. After that, in my opinion, if you can do it playing attractive football, then that's the next best thing. United fans have been shattered with the performances last season, along with Spurs fans. Where those two clubs finished and the amount of games they lost, I mean, I can't remember the exact figure, but the amount of games those lost, and we're talking about it, we're obviously playing in the Europa League, was staggering, was absolutely mind-blowing. So from United's point of view, the most important thing, in my opinion, for United now is to pick up as many points as humanly possible, attempt to get in the Champions League. And that might be, well, it might be a dream, but Jeff, you will all go for predictions at the start of the season. You've got them there. I think you'd have been, if you're a United fan, just to totally contradict myself, you'd have been happy with a lot of what you saw yesterday, but really disappointed at the most important thing, and that's picking up points.
Yeah. And of course, that's the most important thing. A lot of great signs for United, though. I'm not just talking Cunha and Mbeumo, but I thought Mason Mount, while he was on the pitch, was excellent.
So did I.
Dorgu was excellent. Yes.
Yeah, it was
Dorgu was excellent.
Good to see Luke Shaw back fit again. In fact, that back three really surprised me, because on paper, when I saw the back three before the game, I thought, oh my goodness, how are they going to hold Arsenal here? But actually, I thought they were exceptional.
Really good.
They've got to keep Luke Shaw fit, guys. They've got to keep him fit if they can. Honestly, he's an excellent player, but you just worry about the amount of games. I keep saying it. You've got to turn up for your work. You've got to turn up for you. You've got to be fit to play on a Saturday or a Sunday or whenever it is. Need to keep him fit.
And just finally, another quote here from Ruben Amorim. We proved today that we can win any game in the Premier League, especially against a great team like Arsenal, and we were the better team.
Well, they didn't prove they can win any game because they lost the match, obviously. Yeah. But they played well enough. They suggested that they will score goals. Cunha, as the game went on, just grew into it, and he was a different class at times. And Mbeumo, he looked like a kid at Christmas, didn't he? I mean, he exploded into that game, faded a bit as it went along. But I think that what they showed is that they can be competitive with any team.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. I was quite impressed with United in a lot of aspects of their play, Jeff Shaban. I really was. And you're right about Mbeumo. The best thing you could say about him when he started that game first half, it looked as though he'd been there for years. You know what I mean? And you're right. As the game went on, the other new signing, Cunha, was very good. So no points, but I think a lot of positives.
Yeah, completely agree. A lot of positives. And by the way, worth saying as well, it's a fantastic result for Arsenal. Performance may not have been great, but what a great result it is for them to go to Old Trafford, where they don't often do that well, and take all 3 points.
Yep.
Thanks, Shaban.
Thank you.
And that was a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business. And got a text from Sue. Jeff, I think you forgot to mention that Forest also played yesterday and won 3-1. Or don't they fit your definition of a big club, so not worthy of a mention? Oh, Sue, you cynic. They're former European Cup winners. Of course they're a big club. Of course they get a mention. And Chris Wood, back on the goals trail straight away as well. And I'm going to hold my hand up. I wasn't sure that Chris Wood could do this season what he did last season. Made a pretty good start, though, hasn't he, to say the least?
He certainly has.
Yeah. Coming up, we ask the question, with Graham Potter under pressure already, is there a harder job in sport than being a football manager?
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle baking bread? Improve your take-home dough with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
let's be honest, we've all found ourselves raging at a referee's decision at some stage. Something like this?
That is an absolutely shocking decision.
They've got a case in that it was a bad decision.
It's such a poor decision.
Yeah, I think he's just made a bad decision in that instance.
But what does it take to get to the very top level of football refereeing? You can apply to become a referee through your local county FA from as soon as your 14th birthday. After spending several hours either in the classroom or on the pitch, they'll grant you Level 7 status, which allows you to officiate amateur games. Then you'll work your way through the ranks of amateur football, not reaching the National League until Level 2. It's a long process, bearing in mind every level from 7 upwards takes an average of a year. Also, there's no specific number of games you have to ref or hours you have to log before moving on up. You simply just have to be good enough. Once you're Level 2 and have enough experience at a National League level, you can apply to the EFL to become a Level 1 referee. Then it's on you to get enough experience to climb through the ranks and eventually become a Premier League referee. In total, there are 37,000 registered referees across England, but the PGMOL has only deemed 21 good enough to officiate games in the top flight. So if you want to make it to the top, there's less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of doing it, and it'll take you a decade to get there.
A very good morning to 6:34. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, and Ally McCoist with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Now, we are asking the question whether being a football manager is the hardest job in sport. Why? Well, we're asking this because in the National League, the Eastleigh manager, Kelvin Davis, was sacked at the weekend after 2 matches. And after West Ham's dreadful performance against Sunderland on Saturday, some fans have been calling for his head after just 1 match. Leeds get their season off and running tonight. How many Leeds fans wanted Daniel Farke gone despite promotion before a ball's even been kicked? It seems like the cutthroat business of being a football manager is getting harsher and harsher. I mean, as far as poor old Kelvin Davis is concerned down at Eastleigh, that's a starting point for us, really, Coisty. I mean, 2 games. Stuart Donald, the chairman of the football club, said it wasn't just the fact that they lost them both, it was the manner of the defeats. So is that brutal or brave on his part?
Well, time will tell. It's certainly... It's probably... is it brutal? Well, I don't know if it's brutal, Jeff, because he's made a decision that he thinks will be in the best interests of his club moving forward. Whether it's brave or not, time will tell. I'm not sure it's brave. Brave's not a word I would use. But whether it's the correct decision, time will tell. But, I think after 2 games into a season, I would have to say, the word I would use would be harsh, Jeff. You know what I mean? But he's well entitled to do it if he thinks replacing the manager is the correct thing to do for his club moving forward. But in answer to the question, I'm not sure it's a brave decision. I would hardly call it brave. It might be slightly controversial and one that, might come back and bite him, or it might be the right thing to do. Time will tell. But in answer to the overall question, I don't think, it's a well-known fact, I don't think managers do get enough time. Is it a cutthroat business? Yes. Is it the worst job in the world? No. A lot of the bigger lads get paid very well. I'm not saying the Eastleigh manager, for example, gets paid a lot of money. So I would suggest, 2 games is very, very harsh.
Is it any different now, Ali, in truth, to what it's always been like. I mean, last season in the Premier League, most managers survived most of the season. And I can go back to the days when Brian Clough went to Leeds. Brian Clough, one of our greatest ever managers.
44 days or something,
was gone in 44 days.
I know. Well, you're right. Absolutely. When you look at it like that, the bottom line is it any different? Probably. I'm guessing now, Jeff, because I don't know. It just seems to me a little bit now that they don't get as much time. But you've come up with arguably the biggest one of the lot, and you're right. You mentioned Clough when he effectively to get Leeds United and attempted to change that brilliant Leeds side, absolutely brilliant Leeds side, which was so successful and probably should have won a European Cup. I don't know. So it just seems to me that they're given slightly less time. But has it changed an awful lot over the years? Probably not, Jeff.
Yeah, I think probably the thing that's changed, Coisty, is that you are so much in the public spotlight. You know, you can't sneeze without it being a back page headline. And that in itself adds pressure, not just on managers, but on chairmen as well to make decisions.
There's another massive thing that's come into it, and I don't care what MD says, I think it will affect a lot of owners, and that is social media, Jeff. What hasn't changed in respect of football fans having an opinion is they've always had that opinion. Doesn't matter if you Hartlepool or Rangers or whoever you may be, if you're a supporter or a fan, you'll have an opinion. Nowadays, it's just that opinion is heard on social media and seen by just about everybody. You know what I mean? And I definitely think that pressure on owners is greater to react to poor results than before because of the voice of the fans being, in my opinion, been made far more public.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. I mean, obviously, after that dreadful result at Sunderland at the weekend, questions are being asked of Graham Potter already. Vice Chair of West Ham, Karen Brady, joined the Sunday edition following that 3-0 defeat to Sunderland and said Potter needs time to show what he can do.
Graham is a forward-thinking manager. He's sort of calm under pressure. He's very detailed in his approach. He's a great manager of players. He builds a special relationship with players and they understand where he's coming from. And he has a modern mindset. And all of those things mean that it does take some time to put a team together, to get the team playing the way that you want. I mean, West Ham is not a club that panics about its managers. We tend to support people, stick with them and see it through. I really hope he does well. He's a pleasure to work with. He's incredibly professional. And I know the players respect him. I know his relationship with the players is good. I know he'll be sitting down with them today to have a long, hard think about what went wrong yesterday, expecting a reaction and expecting to put it right.
I mean, surely the very least that any manager should get, Coisty, is until his squad is in place. We're talking about potential sackings before the end of the transfer window.
No, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. That's what I am with as well. You know, if you're talking about dismissing managers after 2 or 3 games, it's crazy. Generally speaking, Jeff, the exception to the rule might be a club like Real Madrid or something like that, where it probably has happened in the past. But what will get a manager the sack is results. You know, it's not going to be style of play really or anything untoward. It will be results that will get the vast majority of managers and coaches the sack. That's why I have always said that the results, I think, are more important than style of play. Style of play is important. Of course it is, because we're in the entertainment business. You want to see a team play well. You want to see good, attractive football. However, it's results that will keep your manager on the job.
He's got to be knocking on David Sullivan and Karen Brady's doors, hasn't he? Saying, look, before this transfer window is over, we need significant reinforcements.
Yeah, without doubt. You know, I'm looking at the team just now, and I'm looking at the subs coming on. You know, they bring on Souček, Callum Wilson. and Andy Irvine. I was a little bit concerned before the season started about the squad and numbers at West Ham, and I know a lot of West Ham supporters were too, Jeff. Listen, that was they weren't without their chances on Saturday. I must admit, they had one or two chances, but that was a nightmare start for them, and obviously the complete opposite for Sunderland.
I mean, in a lot of respects, one of Graham Potter's issues is he doesn't have much credit in the bank at West Ham, not after last season. But as a reflection, really, that it sometimes doesn't matter how much credit you have in the bank. After Villa's 0-0 draw with Newcastle, talkSPORT's Sam Matterface caught up with Unai Emery. And it's safe to say he wasn't best pleased with Sam's question about the first half. Just take a listen.
Talk to me about that first 45 minutes, because it looked as if Newcastle were on top and creating a lot of chances. What did you put that down to?
A lot of chances, yes.
3 or 4 chances?
3 or 4, yes. It depends how you are, how is your opinion about the chances.
Well, they had 8 shots and at least 2 on target.
I remember 2. Okay, it's good, they play good, yes.
Did you think your team started well?
The first half. Do you want my analysis, or you are going to do analysis?
No, I'm asking you to explain to me.
You are doing the analysis. You are not asking me for my analysis.
Okay, so
you are doing your analysis, and you are not making question for me.
Okay, so what would you like to say about your team's performance? Because after a tough first half, were you happy with the way that they performed in the second?
Okay, I'm going to answer now. Okay, but my opinion, not yours. The first half they played better than us. We weren't dominating the match like we planned. The second half, we started the first 50 minutes completely different. But after the red card, the match changed completely, and we needed defensively to get the commitment had the players to do. And at the end, we draw, and of course, we had to accept it.
I mean, look, it wasn't a great day at the office as far as Unai Emery is concerned, and it's not easy having to come out to face the media after something like that. But is there something deeper than that, do you think, Coisty? Was that all about his frustrations that they haven't really been able to strengthen during the course of the summer?
There was an element of that, and clearly he's an intelligent man and an excellent coach and an excellent manager. He'll know effectively Sam was right. Sam was 100% right, and then when he did decide to answer the question, he was 100% right, because they were poor the first half. They started the second half better, without being brilliant, without being anything near brilliant. I mean, as I said to you, Jeff, it'd have been very difficult not to get an improvement out of that Aston Villa side in the second half. And then the sending off, obviously, to Ezri Konsa changed the game. And, you know, and the change, well, they didn't so much change the shape, but Kamara went back in, and who was excellent, by the way, went back in and played in that position. They just went to 4-4-1, and they kind of saw the game out. But if you're a Villa fan, you listen. The Villa fans are intelligent enough to know that would go down as a bad day at the office for them.
Yeah.
You know? And when they go down to 10 men and they don't play well, and you're walking away with a point against a Newcastle side who were very, very bright in times and did create better chances. I mean, the stats would tell you that. So he was a little bit touchy, but I think the frustration would be down to those two things. You're right, probably a lack of people coming into his squad, and he'd be frustrated at his team's poor performance.
Just a final question, Coisty. It's a daft question, but, you know, I'm full of daft questions. What are the chances that all 20 Premier League managers will still be in place by Christmas?
Oh, no, that won't happen. But what do you think? It's a great question. It's a brilliant question. But sadly, I don't think it will happen. I think you might lose one.
I agree. I hope they all get a decent run at it.
So do I.
But sometimes, instinctively, you just know when something's not quite right.
Yeah.
And obviously that's what Stuart Donald did down at Eastleigh. Look, if you want to have your say, 81089, give us a text. Is being a manager the hardest job in sport? Do they deserve more time? Does Graham Potter deserve pressure? Can Sheffield United fans already see Ruben Sellers as maybe not quite the right fit for your job? Or do you give him time to prove that he is the right fit and changes the things that he needs to change? Get involved this morning with a text, or you can give us a call, 03717 2233 44. Very good morning to you. It is 6:50, Monday, August the 18th. So we've just been talking about Kelvin Davis at Eastleigh, and Dale tells me, through a text, thank you, Dale, Kelvin Davis wasn't sacked at the weekend. It was some utter moron on the fans forum on Saturday evening writing utter rubbish. Roll on Aldershot tomorrow evening. So maybe we jumped the gun rather than the chairman jumping the gun there. I hope that's the case anyway, because Kelvin Davis, and I tell you, you remember him from his days at Southampton. He's a smashing lad. He really is a smashing lad, and he's done a good job down there in the past. So Dale, I'm sure you're right. Thank you very much for letting us know. And if that is the case, apologies to Kelvin Davis for writing him off far too soon. So that's the situation at Eastleigh. Right, time now for EFLers.
Had can you not love the EFL when it throws up moments like this?
Here's Hogg!
Oh, it's come back to Zamora!
Kick off again! City fans can't believe it. What a match!
Windass! Quite simply destined to be from Team Windass.
We're in London. Hey, we're in London, aren't we?
Leeds can beat you 4-1. They're a fantastic team. But we had someone in the bushes that day twice this season now.
No sirve para nada.
I didn't know I would have such a reaction.
That ghost didn't head one in on Saturday. We didn't defend properly, you great chicken nuggets.
We hear that Jimmy Glass, the goalkeeper, has scored for Carlisle.
You just never know which twist any game is going to turn next.
Must I forever be a beggar? My Delilah. Why?
Yeah, Delilah, the Stoke City anthem is just for producer Ollie, who's a massive Stoke City fan. It's that time of the morning when we run through the major talking points from the EFL after 2 weeks. And of course, Coisty, who should sit top of the championship table? Top of the championship table, but Stoke City. It must be a long time since that happened. Look, they've got a great manager in place, haven't they, in Mark Robbins. Played 2-1-2, and they've got a couple of guys who can put the ball in the back of the net, which is, you know, two significant differences. Top manager, decent strikers. It's early doors yet, though, isn't it? Because when I look at Stoke, I think, look, they beat Sheffield Wednesday at the weekend. We all know the issues that Sheffield Wednesday have been through.
Yep.
Here's the test of Coisty. Their next 3 games: away to Southampton, home to West Brom, home to Birmingham. Will they still be top after 5 games?
Well, if they take, you know, you'd settle for 6 points. If you could get 6 points from those 3 games, I think that'd be absolutely terrific, because that's a tough run of fixtures. I've got to say, Ryan Mason at West Brom as well. Great result for them at the weekend. We're speaking about Wrexham, I think, a week before, and I suggested that they might just have found their level. I'm not saying they won't kick on maybe in a season or 2 again, but I looked at, they were always for me going to find their level. But that was a terrific result for Ryan Mason at West Brom as well. Listen, Jeff, we know, you and I know how tough that championship is. You've got to, it's like a war of attrition, man, every Saturday, every Tuesday. So, listen, they've had a great start, Stoke. It's funny, it's a crazy thing. Well, it's not a crazy thing to say, because of what's going on at Sheffield Wednesday. I don't think the result was that big a shock or that big a surprise, to be brutally honest with you. And that's taking nothing away. Ollie will be going off his head in behind that glass. I know he will. It's a great start, but come on, there's miles and miles to go. And what is, I think, one of the toughest leagues going.
Yeah, completely agree. But it is a terrific start. You mentioned Wrexham there, by the way. Of course, they've lost 2 out of 2 as well, despite the fact they had their £10 million man Nathan Broadhead available at the weekend. I think Josh Windass has picked up an injury. Whenever I look at Wrexham signings, it strikes me they're always strikers. Maybe they need a bit of work putting in at the other end of the field. Jeremy Monga, Coisty, I'm not sure if it's a name you're familiar with. He is the youngest ever championship goal scorer now, having scored for Leicester at the weekend, just 16 years of age.
Is that right?
Yeah. He doesn't look 16. He doesn't look 16. He's a bit of a unit. And I tell you what, he exudes confidence and self-belief. Amazing for a 16-year-old.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You don't. Is it me, or do you know? We don't see that as much. Some of the younger ones, our manager and coaches are a little bit loath because of the pressure to get results to throw. I mean, real youngsters in. You go back to the likes of Rooney, for example. You could argue he was maybe a one-off, but remember the thrill we watched when he came in as a kid, scored that goal against Big David at Arsenal and stuff like that. I'm not sure we see it just as much, Jeff.
No, I'll be interested to see how this kid does. That is for sure. By the way, at the other end of the age scale, are you surprised there's still no club for Jamie Vardy?
Yes. In fact, I've got one up here that would take him in 2 minutes. I think Vardy will score goals. I really do, Jeff. And I'm very, very surprised. He must have something. He must have had options and offers. He has to have had, Jeff. I mean, he simply has to have had. Maybe he's not received an offer that obviously that's to his fancy. But yeah, in answer to your question, yeah, I'm very surprised, aren't you?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, already I'm thinking there must be Premier League sides out there who would think it would be great to have Jamie Vardy, even if he's not a starter, but to come off the bench, 20 minutes to go. No-brainer as far as I'm concerned, but still. Best piece of news of the weekend, Ali, it came not from the EFL, but from the National League. Morecambe, who looked absolutely doomed, have been rescued. The Punjab Warriors have come to an agreement with Jason Whittingham, the previous owner, and the deal is done by all accounts, and Morecambe will be able to carry on in the National League, which is fantastic news. I think all the Morecambe supporters, by the way, things like the Shrimp Trust, deserve a big pat on the back for the effort they put in raising the plight of Morecambe, because they're the reason, basically, that they've survived. The pressure that was put on the owner ultimately has paid dividends. The only problem is now...
You're right.
Sorry?
I'm saying you're right. It's absolutely fantastic news. Because we've seen it happen in recent seasons, and it's been a disaster to lose another club like that. And dare I say, you've been very quiet about your own team's performance and result of the weekend, mate.
Yeah, well, we beat Braintree 2-0. I wasn't able to listen to radio commentary because BBC Radio Teaser's reporter is banned from the ground. But there you go. Morecambe, by the way, just last thought, Coisty, those problems, they've got a club. That's the good news. The bad news is they need to find some players to play for them now, because a lot of players have left that football club. So it's still going to be a big uphill battle, but it's one that the Morecambe fans would certainly have taken.
They've got to take a bonus. It's been a fantastic week for them, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm looking at their figures just now. Played none, won none, drawn none, lost none. And they're sitting 18th out of 24 teams.
Yeah, they've gone up the table because other teams have been doing so badly. Yeah. Chris has texted in from Stowmark and says the hardest job in sports has to be the jockstrap cleaner for any cricket team. Makes Graham Potter's job sound easy. Thank you very much indeed, Chris. It's not a nice thought. Not a minute to 7 on a Monday morning. No. Still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Download the new improved app to easily manage your accounts and quotes.
Manchester United fans, we want to hear from you this morning. 03717 223344 is the number you need after losing to Arsenal. Ruben Amorim's lost 15 of his first 28 Premier League games, but he says that his team can beat any team in the league. 15 out of 28 depends from which sort of base you're starting from my point of view. So United fans, are you optimistic about this season? 03717 223344. Equally, Arsenal fans, let's hear from you. Did you enjoy the fact that you ground out a result at a ground where you don't always do that well? All that and more to come. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade with easy delivery tracking and 2-hour delivery time slots. Terms and conditions apply.
when Sir Jim Ratcliffe took control of footballing operations at United, the Manchester-born billionaire was somewhat welcomed in as a homegrown hero, ready to save the club from the dark days of the Glazers. But in just 12 months, he became a punch bag for many fans. So what happened? Let's take a look and you can decide for yourself. The important context here is that over the last 3 years, the club has lost over 300 million quid. And from day dot, Ratcliffe committed to fixing this, which of course is the right thing for the club. But what seemed to get fans' backs up is the way Sir Jim Ratcliffe, accompanied by Sir Dave Brailsford, went about it. For example, talkSPORT understands their lunch options at the Carrington canteen have been reduced to just soup and sandwiches, which the higher-ups at the club say will save them 1 million quid a year. Now that might make sense for many who don't get free meals at work themselves, but it gets a little bit more picky than that. It was reported that after staff brought some stationery, they were ordered to send sellotape back because it wasn't considered essential. The reward for being Steward of the Week used to be 50 quid, but that was scrapped and replaced by a paper certificate. And such is the grip Ratcliffe has on spending, he reportedly scrapped company credit cards, meaning some staff racking up hundreds of pounds worth of expenses and spending weeks out of pocket waiting to be reimbursed. But it's not just the stingy decisions around the amount of tea bags in the cafeteria. In 2024 alone, Ratcliffe oversaw 250 redundancies and more were announced at the beginning of 2025. Now, while there are people who acknowledge that United staff numbers are overinflated, it's the optics which aren't great. Because while all this has been going on, Casemiro's getting paid 350 grand a week, and the club forked out 14 million quid getting rid of Eric Ten Hag and Dan Ashworth. But United fans' rage doesn't just stop here at the cuts. Ratcliffe's unpopular decision to introduce a flat ticket price of 66 quid for every fan, even children, certainly did not go down well. For fans, it feels like the very foundation of the club's support is being attacked for the sake of making marginal financial gains. But Ratcliffe has backed it, saying if you shy away from difficult decisions, then nothing is going to change. And time will tell whether these measures will improve operations at the club and help drag standards up on the pitch. But one thing's for sure, his first year wasn't exactly a charm offensive, and there's still a long way to go for United to be back to where many say they belong.
Good morning, 6 minutes past 7 o'clock. It's a Monday morning, August the 18th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist in Glasgow, and the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and opt in to Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. The issue of managers, so divisive, isn't it? I read that text out about Ruben Sellers just before the news.
Yeah.
Instant response. Paul, the Reading fan, says Jeff Sellers' style takes time to implement. He just doesn't seem to be a quick fix manager. He did a fantastic job at Reading under difficult circumstances, but he was afforded the time to find out what his team should look like. You don't seem to get that time in the Championship. It's a good point, because there's no question that Ruben Sellers coming in from Chris Wilder will mean that the team's style is very different from what it was, and certainly needs time to adapt to that. Skibbity Coisty, are you aware of skibbity as a word?
No, I'm not actually. Am I letting myself down here again?
No, neither am I, but apparently it's going to be in the dictionary, so we better learn fast. Now then, Arsenal left Old Trafford with all 3 points yesterday thanks to a set-piece winner. United had 22 shots. Arsenal had 9. They had 61% of the possession. Only stat that's relevant, of course, is the scoreline.
Yeah.
And that was Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. Ruben Amorim addressed the media afterwards and left everyone a bit confused when he made this claim.
I think we proved today that we can win any game in the Premier League, especially against a great team like Arsenal, and we were the better team. So I'm happy with the players.
My question, are you happy with the 3 goalkeepers?
I'm happy with the 3 goalkeepers.
Richard, I just have a question about...
Yeah, I mean, people talking about the fact that they'd lost, and then Ruben Amorim coming out and saying, prove we can beat anyone. They're being a bit picky, aren't they? We all know what he meant.
Of course they are. Oh, Jeff, come on. 100%. And he's right. Although the statistic's wrong, I think you and I, for example, sitting watching Manchester United, we're really intrigued and interested to see what kind of performance and what kind of team we're going to get. And as we mentioned earlier, I think in a lot of aspects of the play, they were very, very good. And I understand totally what he was trying to say there. And by the way, effectively he's right. On another day, they could have won that game, right? They didn't. We know they didn't. But they created enough. They played well enough. The point that I would say that would back him up would be, Jeff, I think Manchester United will probably play worse this season and pick up points. I think that's, generally speaking, the point that he was trying to make. I think we're nitpicking a wee bit here, to be brutally honest with you, because from where I was sitting, there was an improvement in Manchester United yesterday, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Bad day for Højlund, wasn't it? Not even included in the squad.
Oh, well, that's it, isn't it? You'd have to say, unless there's a dramatic turnaround, you would think he might be off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd think so.
Bit harsh on him, I think. Not to be in the squad is a bit harsh. But look, if they want you out, then I suppose that's one clear way of sending the message.
Yeah.
United fans, let's hear from you, despite the loss. Were there signs that Ruben Amorim has turned things around, or is turning things around, shall we say, at Manchester United? 03717223344. Get involved this morning. Let's head to the phone lines and speak to Lewis, who's a Manchester United fan. Morning, Lewis.
Good morning, Lewis.
Yeah, morning, boys. How are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. How did you feel about yesterday?
Well, I need a couple of minutes on this, Jeff. I'm not an easily pleased fan, to be honest, or watcher of football. For me, it's a loss. Start of the season. It's a continuation from last season. No goals. We played okay, yeah, but for me, he picked the wrong team. This team's not ready. We need a new goalkeeper. Looks like Anana's probably done for now, wasn't in the squad, and same with Højlund. We should have started Sesko up top, start him from the off. I think everyone was disappointed to see him on the bench. We need a new midfielder. But Fernandez been played out of position. We should have sold him to Saudi, I think, to be honest with you. He's out of position. He's just doesn't do anything when he's that deep. Need a new left back. So for me, Arsenal were rubbish. It's not like they were brilliant, Arsenal. You can't just say, oh, well, United ran around, they played okay. What happens if they do that for the next 6 games in a row and keep losing 1-0? At some point you're going to say, no, they need to start scoring goals. They need to be winning games.
Lewis. Look, it's a Monday. I know it's a Monday morning, but there must have been some positives, mate.
No, I don't. Yeah, but as I said, I'm not easily pleased. We ended last season with a 1-0 loss in the Europa League final, and he got all his tactics wrong, picked the wrong team, and he's done it again to the start of this season. He's won 27 points, Jeff, out of 28 league games since he's been there. It's a shocking record. It's not good enough. For me, he's not the man. I think he'll be gone by the end of the Christmas or end of the year. You're talking about managers. Will anyone be there sacked by Christmas? For me, he will be. We've got tough games coming up. All right, we might get something against Burnley next weekend, but we've got Liverpool coming up, City. If we're floundering nowhere, come November time, I think he'll be up for the chop December.
Lewis, thank you very much indeed, mate. You've not raised our spirits, I would say that. So, continuation of last season, picked the wrong team, need a new keeper, should have started Šeško, Fernandez out of position, everything else was fine. Let's get some reaction now with talkSPORT host, Manchester United fan, Angelina Kelly. Morning, Angelina.
Morning, Angelina.
Good morning. I can't believe what I've just been listening to.
I hope you're in a better mood than Lewis.
Well, I was before he started talking. Oh, my goodness. I don't think we were watching the same game. That was the most... I'm sorry. That completely and utterly shocked me. What he was talking about, I don't know. Bruno Fernandes, who was Manchester United's best player, well, you could maybe throw Ahmad in last season, but by a country mile, who saved the club so many times... We should have sold him. If Amram's getting sacked, I would have loved to have known who's going to replace him. And Benjamin Šeško, he's been there a week. How can you expect to be starting him? And you know what the narrative would have been. Had Gyökeres and Šeško been on the pitch at the same time, it would have been a whole thing of comparing the two players. He's been at the club 1 week. And Amorim said that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hope Lewis has something else positive going on in his life, because if all he's got is Man United, that's his attitude. Then...
So, Angelina, look, you were at Old Trafford. Was the feeling at the ground very different to Lewis's feeling then? Was the positivity?
Yes, 100%. I mean, I was sat next to Alex Crook, and even it was a bit moody at times, but even he was feeling more positive than negative, because at the end of the day, being at Old Trafford last season, you watched a lot of games in the first 10, 15 minutes where Manchester United were caught out. In the opening 10 minutes, we had over 70% possession. And I think that United showed a lot of dominance. I think that you could argue, I mean, Arsenal were the better team because they won the game. But I think Manchester United, they had more possession, a higher XG, the 22 shots, which was the first time that we've had over 20 against Arsenal since 2011. Yeah, only 7 of those 22 were on target. But I just think there are a lot of really standout individual performances. I mean, the back three, Lenny Yoro, dropped to his knees at the end of the game like he'd lost a World Cup final. That's what you want to see. I want to see these players absolutely devastated. Luke Shaw, the fittest I've seen him in a long time. I think he dealt with Saka really well. Mason Mount looked more like he's fulfilling that potential. And Bumo and Cunha, I thought that they were brilliant. I thought they looked really, really strong, really threatening. And when you think about Manchester United, you can't look at beating the likes of Liverpool, City, Arsenal, because they do have better quality. Man United got absolutely had by the teams that you're looking at finishing, maybe 12th and below. Those are the sides that Man United need to win against, because they were incapable of doing that last season. And I think that front three would be capable of beating a Burnley or a Wolves, for example. I mean, Fulham's going to be a test, but I think they controlled the game really well at times, carried a greater threat at times, and it was definitely improved from last season.
There you go, Lewis. That's you put in your place.
There you go.
Hey, I've got to say, I was just about to say that, Jeff. If you and I are on this show for another 100 years, right, and God forbid that happens, we will never have two contrasting opinions and outlooks on their team in the space of 3 minutes there, I'll tell you.
By the way, I heard voices from all over the country there saying, when you said, God forbid that happens, they were all in agreement, Coisty. They were all in agreement. Angelina, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Angelina.
No worries.
Now, for everything Manchester United, check out Inside Devils on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. Up next, referees at the forefront of the conversation once again after a rule that nobody had ever heard of cancelled out Eze's free kick at Stamford Bridge yesterday. Good morning, 7:19, Monday, August the 18th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Darren, the Spurs fan, has suggested or asked the question, is Lewis the deputy of Jeff's Ministry of Misery and Angelina the deputy of Captain Giggles' party? Brilliant, Darren. Thank you very much indeed. Now, on Friday morning, Alan Brazil left Ray Parlour in stitches when trying to keep listeners across the Gulf. Have a listen.
The Scheffler's up top now. Why don't you just back him every tournament?
What's that? Scheffler.
Why don't we do him every tournament?
Well, it's early days, but he's such a... What can I say? So consistent, isn't he?
He's some ass.
There's some good players up there, though. Offland, Fowler, Jason Day's up there, Fleetwood.
Can they keep doing it? McIntyre's top. Sorry, McIntyre's top.
No, this is a repeat now.
What's that?
It's a repeat.
Well, I don't
It's not live, is it?
Why play it? He's up there then.
7:30 in the morning now. It's in America, so it'd be like midnight now, wouldn't it?
Some late tea times over there. Brilliant. Alan Brazil on Friday. But he was right about Scheffler in the end, of course.
Of course he was.
Because he produced this moment of magic on the 17th last night to seal yet another win.
Lifts this out of the rough, out of the putting surface, now bringing it down the slope towards the hole, slowly moving, now picking up speed. That's getting close to the hole, now picking up speed, getting close, Scotty Scheffler, and that is right, it in! He made it! Chip and birdie, oh my goodness, do you believe it? Scotty Scheffler, birdies, pull out, 17, 15 under.
Yeah, but you can believe it, can't you, Coisty? Because with Scheffler, you can believe anything.
He's so. I mean, watching him in the Open and watching him recently, he's just so in control, Jeff. Do you know what I mean? You know, whereas, I mean, I love Fleetwood and I love wee Bob. I absolutely love him, and I'm longing for them to win, continue winning things. You know, and I think Bob's time will come. But there's just a control and a composure and Scheffler's different. As I said earlier, I'm not sure he's just at the stage Woods was where he, you know, everybody absolutely feared him totally. I'm not sure he's just there yet, but he's just so in control of his game, mate.
Yeah.
He really is.
I mean, the amazing thing is, when you see him with a little chip like, you almost expect him to hole it. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but you almost expect him to hole it. It's absolutely incredible. Golf Hall of Fame member Dame Laura Davis claimed on TV that Scheffler has now had his Tiger moment. You can hear the PGA Tour playoffs live on talkSPORT 2, don't forget. Right, time now for a return of this.
You're unbelievable.
It's a shocking decision.
Unbelievable, Jeff. Unbelievable, Jeff. They're trying to re-referee the game. That's not what it's there for.
Jeff, you will not believe this.
Keep your flag down.
I told you.
No way.
I told you.
VAR, go away. Dave Bassett will not believe this.
It's a goal. It's a goal.
The crowd cannot believe it. What?
Oh, miles over the line.
Boo! That's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
That isn't a penalty. I'm absolutely astounded.
You're
unbelievable, Jeff.
Yeah, Shaban is back with us to talk through some of the big refereeing talking points. There's only one, isn't there, Shaman?
There is. I mean, 14 minutes into the return of the Premier League, got Liverpool-Bournemouth on Friday, got everybody talking. But let's go to the game. Palace against Chelsea. Ever heard of Law 13? A little-known free kick rule denied Palace of that stunning goal by Eberechi Eze. I mean, when that happened, were you aware of Law 13?
No.
Right. 2019.
2019. It's 6 years old. How many times has it been implemented in those 6 years? I would love to know. Have you ever heard of it, Coisty?
No, never heard of it, mate. I've got to be brutally honest with you. It was a real surprise to me. And it was, I mean, let's be honest about it, Jeff. It's a brilliant strike. It's a goal. No, it's just a goal. Simple as that. But I'd never heard of it. So, therefore, the law says that it's not a goal.
This is it. I mean, if you have missed out on Law 13, I'll try and give you my best educational voice here. Given that Law 13 does indeed say that attacking players must remain at least a metre from a wall or more than two players until the ball is in play, Palace could not really object. Problem is that the law has been in place since 2019 and nobody knows much about it whatsoever. I mean, there was a lot of confusion around this moment, and it's something that VAR James Pell had spotted, that Guéhi, who clears Moises Caicedo, went out of the way to create the gap, and that was less than a metre away from the wall when the kick was taken.
You see, later in the game, when there was another free kick in a similar position, that Darren England went and put a white mark down with his magic spray between the wall and the next Crystal Palace. But I've never, ever seen that, seen that in a Premier League game before. It strikes me that James Bell, the VAR, and Darren England are just getting fussy. They're just getting ridiculously fussy. And honestly, it might be a law, but it's a law nobody knows about. And by the way, get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, sorry, Ali, go on.
I'm with Jeff totally. I mean, if we're ruling goals out for that and make matters worse, a great goal as well. I mean, I don't know. And I agree with Jeff as well. I think sometimes people are just trying to justify being there, the job. I mean, it's a goal. Go on with the game.
Yeah, and actually there's a good piece in the Game in the Times today. James Gearbrandt going into it in detail of similar goals that have come with the similar example. Reece James's late equaliser against Bournemouth in January, Bruno Fernandes's goals against Arsenal and Everton last season, all had this going on and nothing was flagged at the time. So maybe in the summer they've just had their get together and said, that's it, this 8-second rule now with the ball being picked up, that's been in place for a while, but we saw more of that yesterday.
Yeah, well, Ollie, who's a Burnley fan, has just texted and said, this 1 metre rule and the 8-second rule for goalkeepers we saw at Spurs, you just know they'll be applied inconsistently and mostly in favour of the bigger clubs. And that is the finger that is going to be pointed. Yes. What next from the cheerful committee sitting in their meetings deciding how to rule out goals? Somebody else has said, are you bonkers? Gay shoved a player out of the way. It's a foul. That wasn't why it was disallowed. That's a completely different discussion. Absolutely. Totally different argument, irrelevant to this.
Yep.
Was the handball for Liverpool, by the way, against Bournemouth on Friday night, this an AC one, was that a handball? Was that clear and obvious handball to you? Should that have been a red card?
Not for me, no, to be honest with you. It's all clear and obvious one, Shaban, Jeff. I just think it drives me crazy. And then people go on about what really annoys me is their hands in an unnatural position. You got that kind of pattern, right? Now, I think that is absolutely nonsense, right? And nonsense. When a football player is going to tackle or going to head a ball or doing whatever he's going to do, their hands are naturally not by their side. That doesn't mean it's in an unnatural position.
But that was a handball.
Yeah,
that was clear and obviously he handed the ball.
He grabbed at the ball. That was the problem. He grabbed at the ball. It's not a red card for me because, there's 40-odd yards to go to goal.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's why, VAR did check it. The referee's call of no red card was checked and confirmed by VAR with the action deemed not to be clear handball offence nor denial of a goal scoring opportunity. But Ekitike was in on goal.
But that's up for debate. That's where I agree with you. Right,
confused.
I think it is. It's a law again. Yeah. I think it is a goal scoring opportunity, but I don't want to see him sent off.
Exactly, and it would have killed the game. But then, if the law's the law, I don't know. If you guys can't explain it, then what chance have I got? I'm going to my bed.
Ali, Jeff, this rule's been implemented for ages. We're talking about this 1 metre away. Well, it really hasn't. I mean, it really has not been implemented. And Mark the Toon fan says, how many times have we seen opposition players join a wall and a goal goes in? Absolutely, we see it frequently. And Chris Hawkley, it's shocking you three do not know about the laws of the game. You steal a living yapping about... Chris, I bet you knew it, didn't you? Are you a VAR, Chris, by any chance? Hey, if not, you should be, mates. No doubt about that. I don't think that the great majority of football fans out there, or indeed the great majority of football pundits, would have known about that law because it is never, ever implemented. That's the truth of the matter. Shaban, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thanks, Shaban.
The first edition, by the way, of Men in Black, our brand new weekly podcast, is out this afternoon on the talkSPORT app, wherever you get your podcasts. Join Sam Matterface and former Premier League referee Chris Foy. Let's see if he's heard of Law 13, shall we? For a look back at the weekend's most controversial decisions. Coming up, let's get positive. Sunderland are back in the Premier League and they thumped West Ham. Did they prove they're here to stay? We'll discuss that next with our legend, Super Kevin Phillips.
Premier League teams have got a load of crazy nicknames. Ever wondered where they came from? Some are pretty straightforward. Arsenal are the Gunners because they were founded by a group of munitions workers, and Bournemouth are the Cherries because their old stadium was built right next to a cherry orchard. Then there's Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were two local toffee shops. Ipswich Town nicked their nickname off their opponents in the late 90s, Birmingham. The term Tractor Boys was chanted as a way to tease the team about their farming background, but they started using it themselves as a way to cheer on the team in victory instead. Take that, Birmingham. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, well, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire's also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Crystal Palace's nickname came from an extreme makeover. They were having a nightmare run in the 70s, and when they were relegated, their manager, Malcolm Allison, wasn't having it. I know what'll make us better, he thought, a new nickname. The Strong and Deadly Eagle sounded like a pretty good bet. And there's more to that story. Brighton used Palace's nickname to inspire their own. Ooh, bird, they thought. Let's just pick a different one for us. And so, in a heated match between the two teams back in 1976, when Palace fans began chanting, "Eagles, Eagles," Brighton fans had the perfect reply. Seagulls, seagulls. So next time the away ends chanting their crazy nickname, you'll now know exactly where it came from.
Good morning. It's 7:34 on Monday, August the 18th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online, or with a few clicks, they make buying your next car easy. Now, if you are a Sunderland fan, you must be waking up in complete dreamland this morning as they had the Stadium of Light rocking.
Sunderland 3, West Ham 0, and it's Isidore with the third goal. It's a break from Sunderland that came from a West Ham corner. They didn't track back West Ham, they win the ball back Sunderland, they break down the left-hand side. Isidore, who's not been on the pitch very long, he chops inside, away from Wan-Bissaka, and he just coolly slots the ball into the bottom corner, past Mads Hermansen. My goodness, as opening day's goal, they don't get any better than this. Sunderland 3, West Ham 0.
No, they don't. Absolutely brilliant start as far as Sunderland are concerned. 3 fantastic goals, clean sheet as well. A host of new signings in their starting lineup. A brilliant, brilliant start on the return to the Premier League. Let's get some Sunderland reaction, shall we now, and cross over to the former Sunderland striker, Kevin Phillips. Morning, Kev.
Morning, Jeff. You okay?
Morning, Kev. How you doing?
Morning, Alec. Yeah, I'm good.
Now, look, this is not supposed to happen, is it? A newly promoted side winning 3-0 on the first day of the season?
No, it isn't, is it? What an incredible start for them. I said when the fixtures came out, I thought they were very good for Sunderland. Certainly the first 3 fixtures, and I thought it was a great opportunity for them to get points on the board early. As we all know, newly promoted teams, it's so important to get those points on the board early. So when you look at the table, you're not rooted at the bottom without any points. So it's an incredible start. You have to give huge credit to what Reggie Labrie has done at Sunderland. I praised him highly after last season, at the end of last season, after the playoff final, for what he did. And now he's almost taken them to another new level. And what the club have done in terms of the transfers over the window, the way they've backed him and supported him, I never thought they'd spend that kind of money. And a lot of the supporters didn't. So credit to the owner, and the sporting director, everyone connected with the club. They're doing good things there, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, in terms of the infrastructure, what they're doing to the training ground. So they're doing things right. But ultimately, when you do recruit and you bring new players in, you've got to bring the right types of players in. And I think Reggie Labrie has been really clever in the types of players he's brought in. And I think that the signing of Xhaka, Grant Xhaka, in that middle of that part with these young players, I thought was an inspirational signing. People questioned it, has he got the legs? But, he had legs around him, and that's the biggest thing. So an amazing result. I think we all agree West Ham were poor, but nevertheless, don't take anything away from Sunderland. It's an incredible start to the season.
Tell you what I enjoyed, Kev. I spoke to Jeff earlier. I mean, you got a lot of teams now, they've got certain ways of playing the game, and I understand that. But I like the way Sunderland were mixing up a little bit. I mean, the third goal's obviously a great counter-attack, but when one of Sunderland's best centre-forwards yourself of all time, you must have loved the way they put deliveries into the box, mate. The first 2 goals, crosses into the box and people getting on the end of them. And if you're a centre-forward, that's all you can ask for.
I think, nowadays, it's almost like a dying art, isn't it? People are afraid to put balls in the box. Everyone wants to score that perfect goal. And, it just showed and just highlighted that, it is a weapon. It's still a huge part of the game. More so, clever crosses, cutbacks. You see it all the time. With Man City and Arsenal do it all the time. They're the experts at it. So, but there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned ball in the box, and attack it. So, you know, they've certainly got different ways of playing. And as you rightly said, certainly in the last goal, the counter-attack, they've got pace in the team. And that's what I like about the players that he's brought in that front three. I know he changed them at the end because they wrung their socks off, but he's got other players that can come on and take their place. So they've got energy, they've got pace, and they've certainly got players in the team that can score goals. So, you know, I think Reggie, it's very harsh, isn't it? Very cool. We speak about it all the time. The players that got them to the Premier League, you have to make big decisions. And, you know, he left quite a few out over the weekend about who got them there last year. You know, notably so Dan Neil, who's had the captaincy taken away and given to Granit Xhaka. You know, and that's a big call. Patterson as well, I thought was excellent in the playoff games. At Wembley, pulled off an incredible save to make, could have been 2-0 at Sheffield United. Brings Robin Roos in, who had an excellent game Saturday. So tough decisions have to be made, and he's not afraid to do it. He showed that. But that's what you have to do if you want to survive in the Premier League.
But those who were left out, Kev, they'll take encouragement, won't they, from the fact that actually the 3 goals came from guys who were in that promotion side, Mayenda and Ballard and Isidore.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, he's showed that, I think we all know, and he knows Reggie Labrie, his first time in the Premier League, he's going to need the whole squad. He's going to need everyone to buy into what he's doing. And I get the impression they are, from what I can gather of people that I know, the team spirit is really, really good. You've got Luke O'Nien in the background, who's excellent in the dressing room. I thought, you know, people asked me who you thought would stand out in the Premier League this year, who would step up. And I singled out Dan Ballard. I thought would really step up this season. He's a young kid, but he's an excellent player, and he gets his goal, you know, at the weekend. Great header, scored an unbelievable header in the second leg of the playoffs at the end of last season. So I think he's a player that certainly stepped up. But yeah, I think the other players will take part from it. They will get their opportunity without a shadow of doubt. They just got to be ready, and they've got to take it when they do.
Kev, tell me, mate, there's a lot of people, myself included, we're obviously appreciative of the fact how difficult it is for newly promoted teams to stay in the league. However, I think at least one of the clubs that have been promoted will stay up, right? And it's just my opinion. Do you think I'm basing that on the fact that the promoted teams this year are slightly better, or am I basing it on the fact you think there's maybe 3 or 4 teams in the top flight that aren't as good as they should be and will be in the relegation zone?
Yeah, I think I agree with the latter there, to be honest, Ali. I think, you know, what the teams getting promoted have done, you know, certainly Sunderland and Leeds, they've added players to the squad. You know, it's such a difficult league, isn't it, to stay in? And what you have to do is give yourself an opportunity to try and stay in the league. I was very surprised, I said earlier, about the amount of signings that Sunderland did make, the amount of money that they spent. So they're clearly want to stay in the league. They're not just going to be a club that's happy to come up, take the money, and then get relegated and use the parachute money. No, they want to stay there. They want to be there for good. As I said, the infrastructure's there. So I think probably the quality of some of the teams that are already in the Premier League, we've seen it over the weekend. I think it was a tough weekend for Burnley. I think Wolves might struggle this season, you know, although Manchester City, you know, blew them away at the weekend. Can you judge it on that? You know, they lost top players as well and haven't replaced them. So, you know, from my point of view, from Sunderland's point of view, the fixtures early on has been really kind to them. They've got Burnley away next week, which is a winnable game. And then they've got Brentford at home the following week, who have, you know, who struggled at the weekend yesterday as well. So they've given themselves a chance. Who knows, coming in this season, will they stay up? I said at the beginning that I backed them to stay up, but naturally I would, but I'm not, you know, I'm not stupid. I know it's a really, really long, tough season, and they need to keep everyone fit, and they need to keep putting performances week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, those fixtures that you mentioned, Kev, people are talking about, you know, could have 9 points after 3 games. Let's not get too carried away yet. But what it could do is encourage the players to believe they belong at this level.
And that's the biggest thing, Jeff. I remember when we got promoted back in 1999, I think it was, or 98, you know, the same questions were asked then, can Sunderland survive? And what we did, we got off, although we got battered 4-0 at Chelsea on the first day, it was a big eye-opener, but then we beat Watford at home, and we beat the teams that came up with us and teams that were in and around us. And once we started getting a bit of momentum, you know, it continued throughout the season, and we end up finished 7th. Now, do I think Sunderland can finish 7th? No, I don't. But what they can do after this, will win at the weekend. It breeds confidence, it breeds momentum. You know, they go to another newly promoted side next week who have just been beaten comfortably, you know, and they need to put in another performance. And if they get, you know, even a draw, you take a draw there next week, then you take Brentford on at home, you get a win there. 7 points out of the first 3 games would be an amazing start to the season. And like you say, it breeds confidence.
Fantastic. Kev, thanks very much indeed.
Kev.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
What a start it was for Sunderland. 3-0, I think, beyond their wildest dreams, in truth. It was brilliant. And, you know, the fans there, they've been through a bit over the last, goodness knows how many years.
Yeah.
A lot of it exposed live on TV as well. Not live on TV, but on TV documentaries. And it was great to see them having such a fantastic day.
Well, see, when you think about it, Jeff, I mean, think about the drama that Sunderland have had, you know, recently. I mean, let's be honest about it. The first game against Coventry, I mean, I thought they were very fortunate. You look at the dramatic ending, and you're thinking, well, that was a dramatic ending. And then you go to Wembley for the Sheffield United game. Dear me! I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah. But they've laid their cards on the table. They've gone out and they have spent big. And it was interesting to hear Kev say there, you know, he never expected Sunderland to invest in the way that they have. And I think a lot of people have been surprised by that. And I think they'll surprise a lot of teams in the Premier League this season. But we shall see. It's one game. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade. Find your local branch at travisperkins.co.uk.
Now, Adrian Durham was with us last week. Not for the first time, he ripped into Mikel Arteta, claiming he has to win the league this season. So after Arsenal's winning start, is he convinced that Arteta can deliver the title for Arsenal? Stay tuned this morning to find out. And United fans, 03717 223344, we're taking your calls. Lewis, the United fan, has already said Ruben Amorim got it completely wrong yesterday. Can you take positives out of a home defeat? We'll discuss that next. And that was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Over 40 million available to order with delivery to site. That's one less thing to worry about.
Good morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. What do we know this Monday? Ruben Amorim says Manchester United have proved they can beat anybody after losing 1-0 at home to Arsenal in their season opener. We haven't mentioned City, by the way, at all this morning. Thought that was a statement performance at Molineux at the weekend.
Big fell off a couple of goals, new signings, scoring goals. Yeah, clean sheet. It was almost, well, it was a perfect start for City, wasn't it, Jeff?
All positive. By the way, Coisty, what about Richarlison?
Oh, man, what's happened? I mean, he was brilliant in midweek against PSG,
he was.
Right? He was different class. And then his 2 goals were stunning finishes, I thought. I mean, you got to say, I think Solanke's got a job in his hands getting back in that team, mate.
If Richarlison can stay fit, I mean, Spurs fans must love his attitude. You know? He is so feisty. He is so aggressive. And he doesn't score as many goals as he should. But if he can continue in that vein, oh, goodness me. What a performance at the weekend.
Brilliant.
Other stories, of course, this morning, Newcastle have completed the signing of Jacob Ramsey from Villa for £40 million. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin could make his Leeds debut live and exclusively on talkSPORT tonight, ironically against his former club, Everton. His new boss, Daniel Farke's delighted to have brought him to Elland Road.
Dominic obviously is a proven player on Premier League quality level. First of all, it's important also for our new signings. We want to sign players as a newly promoted side who have delivered already on a top level, but they are also still in a good age on the way up the hill in their career, not already on the way down. So these boxes are all ticked by Dominic. He's in a really good age. He has proven on Premier League level, has way more than 200 Premier League games, has scored nearly 60 goals on this level. I think 11 appearances for the England team, has scored 4 goals. So we don't have to speak about his qualities. He has more or less all the skills that you would like your striker also to have. Yeah, of course. His last few seasons were a bit interrupted by a few injuries, but also by doing this, he still managed to play 26 games.
But that's the point, isn't it, Coisty? How big a gamble is it that he can stay fit and score the goals that Leeds need?
Well, that's it, isn't it? I don't have any doubt he's more than capable of scoring goals. I think he's a good player. But my problem is, again, it's just fitness. That's all it is. I mean, we spoke about Luke Shaw. I think Manchester United are a far, far better team when Luke Shaw's fit and he plays. And it's the same concern you'd have about Calvert-Lewin for Daniel Farke and Leeds. If he's fit, I think he'll play and I think he'll do well. Just a question mark over his level of fitness. And I just hope, for his sake and Leeds' sake, that he gets a good run of games.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Shaban is back with us to talk about some opening weekend overreactions.
Yes, there's been a few already. I mean, the Premier League back at the weekend, and we've heard a few classics, Jeff and Ali. We're already jumping to all sorts of conclusions. Now, going back to Richarlison, Jamie O'Hara had this to say on goal scorers at the weekend.
His hold-up play, he was good midweek against PSG. His hold-up play, his link-up play, his finishing tonight was on point. It's the best performance I've seen in the white shirt.
Yeah, I know.
For him.
Yeah.
It's the best I've seen.
I agree.
Might he be a little bit of a surprise package?
Well, let's hope
for
so.
Spurs?
Let's hope so. He's got to do it consistently, right? He can.
That's
you know,
always,
he's an international football player. He played for Brazil, so you know he's no mug, but he has been poor in a Spurs shirt.
He's not delivered.
He's not delivered. No, but you know, last couple of games, PSG, I thought he'd done well in a tough game. Today, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He's going to keep Solanke out of the team for now, but he's got to do it week in, week out.
Him and Kudos.
That's the biggest thing. He's got to do it all the time.
If those two can have a relationship, and I'm not putting them on levels of Son and Kane yet.
No, come on.
Right? No. But if that can develop and that relationship can grow, I think Spurs fans can be excited. At Burnley.
Here's one for you.
Go on, Macy.
I'm going to put it out.
Go on.
I think Richarlison scores more goals than Gyökeres this season.
Wow, you've gone there.
Yeah.
You've done it.
Yeah.
You said it.
Go in there.
You've gone there. There's no going there. You've done it. You've gone there.
He's gone there. I think Richarlison is going to do business this year.
Wow. That's it. Can I just go back to, by the way, what Jason said? I'm not comparing them with Son and Kane yet. Oh, for goodness sake, Jason. Richarlison to score more goals than Gyökeres. Whoa. What do you think about that, Coisty?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a brave shout. That is a very, very brave shout.
Is it brave or foolish?
No, I think it's brave. time will tell whether it's foolish, right? But it's brave. I mean, I don't think that'll happen, right? But he's certainly got off to a great start this weekend with his prediction. I mean, and to be fair to Tottenham and Thomas Frank, he changed his team from Wednesday's night's great performance where they were very, very unlucky to end up losing that game in penalties. Changed his midfield. Obviously, started Bergvall and Gray in the middle of the park, left out Palhinha and Bencanteur. And I'm just thinking to myself, for the first time maybe in a little while, they've got a wee squad thing going here. You know, the bench, Tell on the bench. Obviously, Solanke's coming off the bench for the Charleston. The one thing they will be, and I can guarantee it, Jeff Shaban, they will not be as open as they were in previous campaigns.
I mean, I think he's probably got a manager who believes in him now.
Yeah.
And we'll see. You know, Everton fans still love him to this day. So
yeah, is it an overreaction?
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, Shaban? Sorry, he plays on the edge, right? If you take that away from him, you probably take away a lot of his game. But he's in danger. A bit like Romero, a bit like the captain. He's in danger of just stepping over that line and getting himself into trouble. But it's a balance because he has to play as close to that line as he possibly can.
Good to see him happy, isn't it, as well? I mean,
yeah.
see some sad sights with Richarlison. Yeah. Good to see him happy. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy back tonight in the Sports Bar from 10 o'clock here on talkSPORT. Voice of Live Football will be at Elland Road to Adrian Durham for Leeds against Everton. And he said at the weekend, despite the 4-2 win over Bournemouth, that Liverpool will not retain the title.
7th will be Aston Villa. 6th will be Newcastle. Manchester United are going to be 5th in the table. That's a bold prediction. Liverpool to finish 4th. Don't at me. Manchester City to finish 3rd. There's a lot of recovery work to do there. I've got Chelsea to finish 2nd, and they will just be edged out of the title by Arsenal.
Liverpool 4th. Is that an overreaction, or is that on point for you, Jeff?
Oh, look, I mean, I think Liverpool will win the league. Said that all along. I was right last year. Adrian wasn't. So, and you know, history has a habit of repeating itself, Aid. So, look, of course they've got flaws, but they're going to put those defensive issues right. I've got no doubt about that. You'll see a different Milos Kerkez as the season goes on. Well, Liverpool fans will certainly hope you see a different Milos Kerkez as the season goes on. And I think they'll boast of their attacking lineup. For me, look, it's a 4-2 win. And yes, there were flaws, but Liverpool came good in the end, and Mo Salah on the score sheet again.
At what point does Aid think predicting Manchester United finishing 5th is controversial? When my mate in the studio says they're going to finish 4th.
Well, the two of them can have it out next because Adrian's on the way, I think.
Yeah.
So that'll be a nice lesson.
No, I've got no argument. If Manchester United finished 5th, then all United fans would take that. I'm absolutely certain. I just think that other teams have got little flaws in them. I mean, goodness sake, Chelsea fans, they are sensitive. They are so sensitive. When I said they'd finish 5th, I was absolutely battered on social media, even though I said it's because they were World Club champions and they've got a difficult season ahead with Champions League, and so a lot of games to fit in, and Manchester United have got no Europe this season, so their season would be... But nobody wants to hear that. All they heard was that I said Manchester United 4th, Chelsea 5th. Oh, my goodness.
You bad man, Jeff Stelling.
Oh, I can't go near Stamford Bridge in the foreseeable future. That is for sure. Brilliant, Shaban. Thanks very much indeed.
Guys. Thank you.
Coming up, Adrian Durham, yes, he who predicts Liverpool to finish 4th, will join us after that cracking opening Premier League weekend to explain to us, to me, to all the Liverpool fans listening, why he thinks that'll happen. That's next.
green jackets have been lost at the 12th than at the Augusta City Dry Cleaners. Rory McIlroy knows this better than most. But what is Amen Corner and why is it so iconic? The famous sequence has always been there since the Masters began in 1934. It didn't get its name until '58 though, when American sports writer Herbert Warren Wind, on the left, wrote, "At the farthest reach of the Augusta National Course, down in the Amen Corner." He drew inspiration from the 1933 jazz song Shouting in That Amen Corner by the Dorsey Brothers. The reason behind its difficulty is all in the sand and the water. Tournament officials don't even bother to count the balls lost in there each year, such is the sheer number. The 11th, named White Dogwood, is a downhill 520-yard par 4 with a pond to the left of the green and a bunker to the right. Both cause a lot of trouble each year. The 12th, Golden Bell, is perhaps the most famous hole in the world, with danger everywhere. Many aim for the flag, but look, get it even slightly wrong, and you're in the azaleas at the back, or the bunkers at the front, or even worse, Rays Creek. Or you can play it safe and aim for the open green on the left. You chicken. Tiger Woods once said, if you make 4 bogeys from Thursday to Sunday, you're doing well. And the highest ever score on that hole? 13. It's a par 3. Tom Weiskopf in 1980 was the sorry soul. Often the iconic Ben Hogan Bridge is the only thing players enjoy about Golden Bell. Even if you escape there unscathed though, you're met with Azalea, the dogleg par 5 13th. It tempts players to go for the green in 2, but cut over those trees on the left at your peril. Every year, it seems, Amen Corner destroys someone's dreams. Rory McIlroy dropped 3 shots through here as his round unravelled in 2011. In 2016, a year after navigating Amen Corner expertly, Jordan Spieth shot a quadruple bogey on the 12th to throw away his green jacket. I mean, it sounds like my game, to be honest. So who'll be the next to be brought to their knees, praying for mercy after Amen Corner?
Morning all, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Well, the Premier League is well and truly back on talkSPORT.
The 34th Premier League season is off and underway, and it is live on talkSPORT. Right foot shot! You bet he sealed it! Mo Salah does what he does best. Liverpool have beaten Bournemouth by 4 goals to 2.
It's taken down Gordon, and Conte's going to be sent off. Full time at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0.
They've lifted the roof off at the Stadium of Light, Mickey Gray.
Sunderland 3, West Ham 0.
Troy Deeney is up on his feet, applauding his former teammate Richarlison. It is a brilliant overhead kick. Bang. What a finish. This quarter for Fulham will surely be their last chance. Oh, it's been backed in. Oh, goodness gracious me. Muniz has done it. Brighton 1, Fulham 1.
Wolves have lost 9 of their previous 10 Premier League games against City. Make that 10 out of 11. Wolves 0, City 4.
Chris Wood has scored his second of the game.
You won't see a better pass than that
all season from Elliot Anderson.
For Keith Andrews, the worst possible start. Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 1.
How much longer will he be a Crystal Palace player? Eberechi Eze, he has just thundered in a free kick. They disallowed the goal. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0.
And surprise, surprise, Manchester United have conceded from a corner with victory against one of their historic rivals. It finishes Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1.
The Premier League is back in session.
Yeah, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal all making winning starts. Of course, the latter away at a better-looking Manchester United side. Let's start with them. Mikel Arteta admitted his team didn't get the best out of Victor Gyökeres, but of course, after a win, we've received a message from broadcaster and Arsenal fan Piers Morgan. Have a listen.
This is Piers Morgan, and I'm a little bit confused because I'm reading that Amorim, the Manchester United manager, says United were the best team. I'm seeing Rio Ferdinand saying he'd never seen a more dominant performance from a Manchester United team in recent memory. I'm seeing Roy Keane attacking Arsenal for not scoring enough goals. And yet when I double-checked the score, it's still 1-0 to Arsenal away at Old Trafford. So like I say, I'm a little bit confused.
And a little bit deluded as well, because Manchester United were clearly the better team on the day. Clearly the better team on the day. The better team doesn't always win on the day, Piers, as I'm sure you're only too well aware of. Let's get more on the Premier League's return with a man who's been at Anfield, the Stadium Light. He'll be at Ellen Road tonight as well. talkSPORT's chief live football anchor, Adrian Durham. Morning, Aid.
Morning, Ed.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. And you know what? At Anfield Friday night, when they got the late goals, the third and the fourth, all I could think about was Jeff's going to be flipping right again, isn't he? Couldn't believe it.
So, look, Aid, here we are. We're live on talkSPORT. You can eat a bit of humble pie. Tell us now, where do you think Liverpool are going to finish?
No, I'm going to stick with it because defensively, I think they've got big problems. I still don't think they're ready to acknowledge they've got those problems at the back. Virgil van Dijk saying again, no worries, nothing's a problem. I just think that others, I mean, look at Man City. I mean, if you're going on the first game of the weekend, Man City are going to win the league by miles, but we all know it's only one game. I'm going to stick with it. I mean, I honestly don't know how you did it. Fair play to you, Jeff, last year. I mean, I'm having a look at the Asian betting markets because of your prediction last year. Extraordinary prediction. And I've actually gone back and listened to it, and you backed it up with some real facts. It wasn't just plucked out of the air. It was seriously impressive. So, fair play. But listen, you've got to get one right in your lifetime. So
Ed, let me tell you something, mate. You mentioned Liverpool defensively. Now, I spoke to Arne Slot before the Community Shield game. And by the way, he brought it up himself. I think the one person, if you're a Liverpool fan, the one person that you would want to be aware of the situation is your manager. And I think he clearly is, because he did mention the centre-back position. You know, he would like to strengthen there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if they went and got Mark... Listen, if they go and get Mark Gahey, and if they do seal Alexander Isak, it's game over. You see, with predictions, and I love making predictions, and the thing about the predictions is you're allowed to be wrong. They're all going to be wrong at some point, right? But if they make those two signings before the end of the window, it completely changes the game. So that will make a huge difference. But in terms of what they've got now, I think that Arne Slot has brought that up. In the interview he did with Danny Murphy that we had last week, I thought it was really interesting because he was talking about Frimpong being a completely different profile to Trent Alexander-Arnold. He was talking about not having to play like Florian Wirtz last season. He said they had Harvey Elliott, but he didn't really play. So he brought those things up as well. And he said that this season, last season was about the manager having to adapt, and he found it easy because they had good players. He says this season it's about the players having to adapt. And it was almost like he was telling us, well, hold on a minute, this isn't going to be a straightforward title defence this season because we've got things to deal with and others are getting better. So I'm not saying he was waving a white flag or anything like that. I think he was just highlighting this is going to be a little bit more difficult this season.
I don't know what happened yesterday, Aid. He seemed to have had a day off, which would just be the first time that I've ever heard that. Now, but you were at Sunderland for Sunderland against West Ham. Look, we've had Kev Phillips on Super Kev eulogising about Sunderland. From a West Ham perspective, though, I'm already seeing calls for Graham Potter's head. Surely, one game in, nobody can take those calls seriously.
By the way, we have to have Sunderland in the title mix as well. They were so good. And the fans, they were truly sensational. It was a privilege to be there on Saturday. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. And actually, Graham Potter in his aftermatch was kind of right a little bit in that he said there wasn't a lot between the two teams. But actually, the big area where the difference was in the finishing, and he's absolutely spot on with that. Listen, they've sold Kudus. I don't think they've bought particularly well, but that's not unlike West Ham. I also think that if you keep a player like Jared Bowen, you have to deliver something because he's so good. I mean, how they've managed to keep him, I don't know. I'm fair play to Danny Dyer. I mean, keeping him there, absolutely sensational work from the father-in-law. But I mean, I think he's so good, but they just couldn't get him in the game. Now, Graham Potter's meant to be this master coach, okay? He's like this textbook coach. He can do this, he can do that. Look at the way they play, etc., etc. If he hasn't got a plan in place that gets the very best out of Jared Bowen, what's the point of Graham Potter? So, yes, you're right, it's one game, but I think it's one game where the West Ham fans looked and thought, hang on a minute, this isn't right. And if this continues, we're going to have problems sooner rather than later. What might save West Ham is I think that we know what the board are like, and Karen Brady was on talkSPORT yesterday morning backing Graham Potter, worst thing he wants to hear. If the results continue like this, he won't be there by Christmas. They'll change and somebody else will come in. There'll be an upturn and they won't go down. But it doesn't look good for West Ham, I don't think. But Sunderland were fantastic. It was brilliant.
Ed, where were you on yesterday's game? I must admit, I enjoyed yesterday's game, and I know Arsenal can and will play better, but they did the business and got the 3 points. Whereas from Ruben Amorim's Manchester United's point of view, I thought I saw enough, that the new signings will be a success. And in patches, I thought there was a lot of positives from United, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you say I had a day off. I did obviously watch the football. I managed to stay awake during Chelsea Crystal Palace, which was amazing. And actually, not good to see VAR robbing the game of goals in the Chelsea Palace game, but nothing changes, does it? On Manchester United against Arsenal, Manchester United just need to be better. They were the better side. If you look at the stats of the game, and even if the eye test, looking at the game itself, they were clearly the better side. But I think it's partly because Arsenal got a goal and then decided to sit in to a large extent, which has been a Mikel Arteta plan. And he actually introduced what I call street housery. I think we all know what word I'm trying to use, but I can't at this time of morning. And that's what Arsenal do, delaying the game, going down injured when nobody's injured, all that sort of stuff. This was in vogue. This was in fashion a couple of seasons ago, up to last season. Feels to me like there's been a change in dynamic in the Premier League, and that's not going to be so much in fashion these days. But Mikel Arteta, as ever, is about 2 or 3 years behind the curve. So if they play like that, trying to street house their way to 1-0 wins, and the Arsenal fans were singing 1-0 to the Arsenal, they've got no chance of fulfilling my prediction of winning the league. Arsenal have to adapt. They have to be better. They're going to end up drawing a load of those games because they'll play better sides than Manchester United.
A great atmosphere, no doubt, at Anfield. Great atmosphere at Sunderland. And you're going to get the hat-trick tonight because you're at Ellen Road for Leeds against Everton. Well, I can't wait for that because, Ellen Road will be the proverbial cauldron.
It's just a brilliant atmosphere. When they're going well, when big things are happening at Leeds United, what a great stadium, an old school stadium. It's a great sporting city as well. I just love going to Leeds. Used to live and work there, and I absolutely love the place. So I'm expecting big things from Leeds. You talk about my predictions. I did the whole 20, and I had Leeds to finish comfortably in mid-table, to be honest with you. And I've had a few people who've given me some funny looks and then said, why on earth have you got Leeds and Sunderland up where you've got them? It's because I think in Sunderland's case, they've signed very well and they've got a very good manager. And I think in Leeds' case, the manager will have learned from his mistakes in the past. And I also think they've signed well. What they've done at Leeds is they've strengthened in midfield and strengthened at the back. Yes, they brought Calvert-Lewin in and people are questioning that, but they already had goals in them. They scored loads of goals last season. Now, of course, they won't score as many this season. Their big job is to keep the goals out. And I think in midfield, and Anton Stack, who they've brought in, I think is going to be a brilliant player in the Premier League. I just think they may have done enough to be safe away from the relegation danger earlier than the end of the season. So I think it's going to be a brilliant atmosphere. The fans will be excited by those signings. So, yeah, bring it on. You're right. Anfield, Stadium of Light, Elland Road. Where else would I have wanted to be this weekend?
Yeah, Ed, thanks very much indeed, mate.
Enjoy it,
tonight.
Mate.
Love it. Cheers.
Leeds against Everton with Adrian is live and exclusive on talkSPORT tonight. and it will be an absolutely fabulous, fabulous atmosphere. Up next, we educate Ali on some new words added to the dictionary. Actually, Arnie Slot says he listens to talkSPORT Breakfast to help his vocabulary. So, Arnie, stay tuned for this one. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me.
Jeff.
Yes.
You're gonna have to pull some rank, Wed. You and I, our reputation will be in tatters if we start coming back with music like that.
It's not. In fairness, it's not Ed's fault on this occasion. It is firmly down to producer Ollie because Stoke are top of the championship. He's getting carried away.
Oh man!
Because that is. I'm sure you know. That is the Skibbity Toilet song. Yes, this is talkSPORT, but that was the Skibbity Toilet song. Why on earth are we playing it, Shaban?
Just here to annoy you, basically.
It's doing that.
Further do your nutting. That is Skibbity Toilet, and it became big on YouTube with the kids. The kids know what it's all about. I ain't got Scooby either, and I like to think I'm down with the kids. Not got a clue. Now, you mentioned before the break that Arne Slot, the Liverpool manager, says he listens to talkSPORT Breakfast to get familiar with vocabulary. Well, there are some new words for Arne Slot to get familiar with that have hit the Oxford Dictionary. Social media slang words like skibbity, tradwife and delulu have been added, to the Cambridge Dictionary. Skibbity has different meanings. Care to have a guess, Jeff, as to what it might mean?
Doesn't really mean anything, does it? It's
to the kids. What does it mean?
Oh, I don't know. No idea. Something's not very good.
Alistair?
No idea.
I haven't got a clue.
Guys, that's
haven't
what
got a
it
skibbity.
means. That's what it means. You've nailed it.
Oh, there we go.
That's what I'm saying. That was my guess.
There you go. Yeah, in the bin, yeah. So what the skibbity, you're talking about all that kind of
right,
all that kind of chat. So Arne Slot might say to a reporter in the press conference today, I ain't got a skibbity.
Please God, don't.
If
don't,
he does,
Arne.
if he does,
don't.
He'll go down an absolute Liverpool legend.
No, he won't.
He will. Also in there, I wonder if Arne Slot has a trad wife.
I hope.
Trad wife has been added to the dictionary. Go on, you can have a wild guess what a trad wife is.
Trendy. Beautiful.
Old-fashioned?
Yes.
Hey.
Traditional wife. Traditional wife is... traditional wife is married women who cook and clean and stay at home to look after their children. Yeah, that's also been added to the dictionary as well. And the other one in there is my favourite, delulu. Care to harvest a guess, Alistair, at what delulu means?
Give me it in a sentence, and I'll tell you what it means.
I'd like you to try and guess first, please, sir.
Delulu just means half-daft.
Yeah, deluded. Absolutely deluded. And
yes.
Believe what you think. Believe your own hype. You're absolutely delulu. On that note, I will leave you there.
Which leaves me with one thought. Why the skibbity did we waste 3 minutes on that? Hey, goodness knows.
You're welcome. Bye, Tradwives.
Thanks, Shaban. Do you lot on talkSPORT, says Martin, the Nottingham Forest fan says, do you lot on talkSPORT know how many teams there are in the Premier League? Just wondering, as you only talk about 4 or 5. He's a Forest fan. And I should say, Coisty, Forest, it's really exciting for them because a lot of people thought they might be one-hit wonders, if you know what I mean. Yep. But they're signing Amari Hutchinson. They have signed, apart from winning at the weekend, they signed Amari Hutchinson, James McAteer. They're about to sign Arno Kalamwende, I hope I pronounced that right, from Rennes. And they're talking about Rico Lewis as well. These are exciting times for Forest fans.
And they also, without doubt, had the pass of the weekend.
Oh, wasn't it brilliant? Elliot.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
What
Elliot
a
Anderson.
Pass.
Yeah.
What a pass. The pass of the weekend to the big fella for the third goal. Elliot Anderson, beautiful ball. He knew the ball was getting overrun. First time ball through the middle. Tremendous pass.
And in fairness, it was almost matched by Morgan Gibbs-White with the assist for the second goal, which was beautiful, brilliant as well.
Beautiful. Back on his left foot delivery and great goal.
While we've got a minute and we're talking about Forest, what about Brentford? I mean, if you want a nightmare start, 3-0 down in your first game as manager, you've got to feel a bit for Keith Andrews.
Yeah, I did. Absolutely did. I mean, second half performance, didn't see all the game, just watched the highlights. Certainly a bit better. They get the penalty, gives them a little bit of, makes the scoreline certainly a lot better. But the first half, I mean, you're right, Forest looked the real deal. And there was always a question mark. Yeah, and I was really looking forward to seeing how Wood would do. And of course, 2 goals is a brilliant start for him. But you're right, Jeff. The owner looks as though he's making a statement of intent again. He's going to strengthen the squad because he knows he's got European football. He's going to need a bigger squad. You can say what you like about the owner, but I tell you what, he's totally committed to that football club.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting his money where his mouth is, that is for sure. Well done to Forest. Right, time now for the latest odds with Coral and Simon Clare.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Simon, good morning to you.
Simon, how are you?
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Ali. Sorry, I'm just putting my headphone out. I'm still reeling at the news that Arne Slot thinks it's a good idea to listen to talkSPORT Breakfast Show to improve his vocabulary.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, who advised him is all I want to know.
Yeah, he only listens on Monday and Tuesday, though, Simon.
I was about to say, I mean, when it gets into Gabby Agbonal or Ray Parlour and Alan Brazil, we're in trouble, aren't we? God knows what he can come out with.
You must be a happy man after the weekend.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it was. I thought it's interesting. It was a hard watch in the sense that I think United were unlucky to lose the game. I think they certainly deserved something out of it. And interesting, the betting sort of reflects that. I mean, Arsenal, Liverpool have eased in the betting despite that 4-2 win. You're talking a lot about that sort of midfield frailties. They're 2-1 from 7-4. Arsenal have shortened into 9-4. I suppose getting that away win. City impressed. They're into 11-4 from 7-2. United have held firm at around 28, and Spurs probably the big move of the outsiders into 40. But in the top 4 betting, we've actually shortened United to 130 from 4. Almost out of the way, the overall, sort of performance they put in. So I think United fans on the whole would probably feel there was more to be positive about than negative about, even though they lost.
Simon, it's amazing what you said there, and I'm going to ask you a question because I had written down there the one team that I thought would change in the betting over the weekend would have been Manchester City. Right, so do you get more of a reaction as a betting company after the first game of the season rather than after games 2 or 3? It would seem logical that you're going to make it after 2 and 3, but do punters react to the first game of the season? Do you know the question I'm trying to ask? I do. I think there's an element of it's been a lot of waiting around to see how teams are going to sort of turn up, and if they turn up in a way which is very different to the way you expect. I think Sunderland might have been a good example of that. Yes, exactly.
The reaction to them. I mean, they've won at home against a side West Ham who are actually only a few points bigger than them in the relegation betting, but the performance meant that they're now short 4-6 for relegation from 1-3. That's a really big shift, because we've all, I think, said, wow, Adrian Durham there talking about Sunderland title charge. But, so I think there are moments. I mean, here's an example, relegation betting. Brentford were away to Forest. But, you expect them maybe to lose, but they're 7-4 from 3 for relegation. Wolves were at home to City, no disrespect to them. They're 9-4 from 3-1 for relegation. And West Ham, again, away to Sunderland, they were 5-1 for relegation. They had 5-2. So those 3 sides, after one game, have suddenly, we're deeming them more likely now to be in a relegation battle.
Simon, what about Leeds, Everton tonight? Now, I think it's really hard to call.
It is. We're making Leeds favourite, which is interesting. 5-4, I suppose, home advantage. 9-4 the draw. Everton 2-1. I mean, a really good game. I'm a massive, massive Jack Grealish fan. I hope he plays a part in tonight's game. He's 9-2 to score on his debut. He's 11-2 for 1 or more assists. That might be more likely than a goal, actually. Yeah. And I just hope he's on the pitch. I mean, it'll be great. Everton fans, you've got one of the great entertainers on your side. I hope he delivers for you this season.
Simon, just a quick one, mate. I know we're going to the news. Interesting story I've got to ask you about. BHA cancelling all races on the 10th of September. Tell me a little bit, is it a protest against the government?
It is. I mean, the government is looking to harmonise taxes. The current tax rate on racing and sport is 15%, on gaming is 21%. When the harmonisation might imply they might meet in the middle, but the general assumption is they're suggesting they're going to raise tax, to betting tax on sport and racing up to the 21%. Of course, that's going to hit bookmakers most, i.e. us. But of course, if everything costs more for us, it impacts on how much we have to spend, the prices we offer, etc. So and racing relies more than any sport on revenue from betting in media rights and levy to keep the show on the road. So racing's really concerned about it. Listen, bookmakers, betting, punters, everyone should be concerned about it, because the more you pay in tax, the less you get back in consumer benefits. So I think everyone should be concerned. We're very lucky in this country to have a really regulated but liberated view about betting, and I think we need to maintain that because it's good for all.
Well, we started this talking about Arnie Slot. Let's finish in the same way. I've got a text here said, you can just imagine Arnie Slot in his next press conference saying, YouTube, and away you go to reporters after listening to Alan Brazil.
Calling people numpties, exactly. We can see it now.
Brilliant, fantastic. Looking forward to that. Simon, thank you very much.
Have a great day, guys.
And that was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Coral 18+, gambleaware.org.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know, here's the tale. Tennis has its roots in 12th century France when people used to make balls from all sorts. Cork, wool, chalk, animal fur and even human hair. Uniformity was found centuries later when people started making balls out of something called vulcanized rubber, invented in the US. But the balls kept on breaking, so a British lawyer, who also loved tennis, suggested they put a flannel covering on the outside, and thus the tennis ball as we know it was born. One problem, it was either white or black. And when the controller of BBC Two, Sir David Attenborough, decided Wimbledon would be shown in colour on the BBC in 1967, no one could actually see the balls on telly. So the International Tennis Federation went away and created a new colour called Optic Yellow, which would show up without the need for a 4K LED display. Not that anyone had that in the 1960s, of course. Since then, all tennis balls have been covered in that material and have their trademark colour for that exact reason. Amateur tennis players and dogs worldwide are forever grateful. You could say the ITF aced it.
Good morning, 8:35 it is, Monday, August the 18th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, and the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and opt into Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. Ian from Morecambe said, morning, Jeff, not sure if you've covered it. I've only just tuned in. Great news about Morecambe. We are saved. Thanks for your support and raising awareness as much as you could. Let's hope no other clubs get this close to the wall as we did, Ian. We did mention it, but it was very early on in the day. Indeed, can only wish Morecambe all the very best. It is fantastic news, and I mentioned, I think the Shrimp Trust as well has done brilliantly to raise awareness of the issues there. Now, let's turn the clock back to Friday at Anfield. Liverpool getting their season underway in their defence of their title with a 4-2 win over Bournemouth. New signing Hugo Ekitike opening the scoring before Chiesa and Mo Salah capped off the win. This is how it sounded on talkSPORT.
Diogo Jota, the first player in Liverpool's rich 133-year history to have his shirt retired.
I can talk about football, about tactics, but I don't think I should talk about that. I should talk about how impressive our fans were once again, how powerful the tribute was, the banner at the cup.
You had to quickly change your mind and be ready.
Ekitike bursting through the middle for Liverpool! He scored!
Pleased for him to contribute with another goal, an important one.
Now Gakpo into the penalty area, takes aim! What a finish! Cody Gakpo!
Changed the momentum of the game, no? I was really pleased even with how the team was playing until the 2-0.
Semenyo goes on, what a run! What a goal! It's 2-2!
Honestly, somebody said to me the other day, Premier League is boring. Have a word.
Jones is there, denied! Chiesa! The winner! And what a way to kick off the new campaign. Salah trying to seal it here. Right foot shot! You bet he sealed it!
Oh, the king is off his throne. Of course he is.
I'm extra proud that we, with the help of our fans, could win this game of football against a very good Bournemouth team.
The champions have started their title defence in style. What a night of pure emotion. He's a lad from Portugal, better than Figo, don't you know? Oh, his name is Diogo.
Yeah, great night as far as Liverpool are concerned. By the way, what a coup for Bournemouth. They have kept Antoine Semenyo.
You're not kidding me. You're not kidding.
He was exceptional, wasn't he?
I saw him a couple of times last season. He was absolutely different class. You're right to keep him. Worth mentioning as well, Jeff. I mean, you expected the Liverpool fans wonderful tribute for Diogo Jota, but at the same time, what you would hope and perhaps what we should expect. There was a fantastic minute silence at Villa Park with the Newcastle fans as well, in honour of Diogo Jota, which is worth mentioning. I mean,
and at Old Trafford, by the way, as well.
Yes,
Manchester United and Arsenal fans, Manchester United, arch rivals of Liverpool, they observed it brilliantly.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
it should be, mate.
Look, let's get more on Liverpool and Manchester City with five-time trophy winner with the Reds, Didi Hamann. Morning, Didi.
Morning, Didi.
Morning, guys.
Yeah. Didi, look, I mean, let's start with Liverpool. A lot of people talking about their defensive concerns. We seem to forget they did score 4 goals.
Yeah, but I think if you look at the 90 minutes, I think you never felt they're really in control of the game. And this is something I think where they've been really good last season. It was end-to-end stuff. They struggled to create chances over the 90 minutes and also allowed quite a few. And I think if you don't control games without the ball, it makes it even harder to control it with the ball. And I think part of it, or the reason was that defensively they've been pretty fragile, as they've been against Palace last season. Kirk has struggled both games so far, and Frimpong, for all his power going forward, his pace, he's not a right back. And I think this is something they have to address, because without Trent in the team, I think the dynamics in the team will change. Will have to change.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that, Didi, because I mentioned earlier in an interview I had with Arne Slot, he more or less said the same thing. I think he would really like another centre-back, because as good as they are going forward and in forward areas, I mean, they will definitely score goals. I think you make a good point. You're never 100% confident. They've got a brilliant goalkeeper, arguably the best in the league, but you're never 100% confident they're going to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing, I think in possession, they've been really good as well last season, because they tire teams out and scored late on when they faded. And with Trent, you had one of the best, probably best ball players in the Premier League at right back. He came inside sometimes, and I think what happened with Trent in the team, because obviously a lot has been made whether he's been missed or not. I think if Trent was on the ball and had a 3 or 4 yards space and a bit of time on the ball, I think what did happen, the teams dropped off, because they knew if he needs to put a ball on a sixpence, he will do. And I think what it is, it stretched teams, even by him being on the pitch and being in possession. And I think it gave everybody else in the team a little bit more time in midfield and also up top, because, as I said, with his passing ability, he did stretch teams because people were scared of his passing. Obviously, this is something they won't have this season, because Frimpong is a completely different player.
Mm-hmm. To what degree do you think they missed Ryan Gravenberch as a shield for that defence?
Well, I think that's a big hope, Jeff, because in the first 60, 65 minutes, I felt that Szoboszlai and McAllister were the best 2 players for Liverpool. A credit to Bournemouth, as you both just said. I think they've been absolutely brilliant on Friday night. But then Szoboszlai tries to play a ball behind his standing foot. They get counter-attack, concede the goal. And again, for the second goal, I think it's a bad pass by Salah. But again, I think Szoboszlai is too close to him. I don't think he gives him a chance to really play a good ball to him. And they get a counter-attack again after 65 or 70 minutes, being 2-1 up at home. And obviously that's something that shouldn't happen. And I think the big hope is Gravenberch did a fantastic job last season with him coming back in the team. Maybe with McAllister, I think that's a big hope that they get a bit more solidity in the middle of the park.
Didi, what about other old clubs? A lot of people, myself included, are looking forward to seeing what type of Manchester City we get this season, because let's be honest about it, the period last season where their form just completely dropped off, but a great start for them.
Yeah, fantastic start. Then again, we don't know how much they beat, because Wolves did struggle last season. They lost 2 of their best players in Ait Nouri and in Cunha. So, I don't think they finish in the top half of Wolves this season. So I think it'll be a tough season for them. But then again, you can only beat what's in front of you. Ryan has been excellent. Cherky scored a fantastic goal when he come on. But obviously that spell, as you just mentioned, in December, I think it was last year, where they didn't win for 10 or 12 games, is a bit of a concern. Not really sure what to expect. I'd be surprised if they beat Arsenal and Liverpool to the title this season.
Oh, interesting. I was also interested by Pep continuing to insist that his squad is still too big, which to an outsider seems a bit curious.
Yeah, sometimes you can have too many players because you've got to keep them all happy, and they can all play, even though they've got a lot of games. They've got 2 extra games in the Champions League since last season. But obviously, if he feels it's too big, then we probably have to expect 1 or 2 to leave the club. But I don't think there's any doubt that if you look at the starting 11 and Cherky coming on, I don't think there's any doubt that they've got an excellent team again.
Yeah, no question. Diddy, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Diddy. All the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Matt, the Wolves fan's just texted, and he's right. We mentioned the Liverpool tribute, and it happened at Premier League grounds up and down the country. But I think it's worth a mention, says Matt, that Diogo Jota's family were present at Wolves and Liverpool's games at the weekend. Both tributes were sensational and did the Jota family proud. I think you're absolutely right, Matt. Well said. Right, let's look ahead to the next hour of the show with benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
We look ahead to tonight's football on talkSPORT. What a game it is as well. Everton, with Jack Grealish, travel to Elland Road to face newly promoted Leeds in what could be a really terrific contest. The former Leeds and Everton striker Jermaine Beckford will join us to preview that game. After West Ham's woeful start to the season at the Stadium of the Light, the former Hammers striker Tony Cotty will be with us to discuss the pressure manager Graham Potter is under after just 5 wins in his first 19 league games. That was our breakfast preview with benchmarks.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With 250 hire branches nationwide, it's easy to hire at Travis Perkins.
Yeah, good morning to 8:48, Monday, August the 18th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me. The NFL returns to Wembley in October as the LA Rams take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have a huge competition to win VIP tickets. We're giving you the chance to win 6 seats in a private box at Wembley with full hospitality, plus $5,000 in spending money. Here's how to enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by 25th August at 11 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
Best of luck with that. Now, it is a big season for West Ham, the first full campaign under Graham Potter, but it seems there's no end to the East London turbulence. Potter's record at the moment reads, played 20, won 5, drawn 5, lost the rest. But speaking on the Sunday edition yesterday, West Ham Vice Chair Baroness Karen Brady promised Potter time.
Graham is a forward-thinking manager. He's sort of calm under pressure. He's very detailed in his approach. He's a great manager of players. He builds a special relationship with players and they understand where he's coming from. And he has a modern mindset. And all of those things mean that it does take some time to put a team together, to get the team playing the way that you want. I mean, West Ham is not a club that panics about its managers. We tend to support people, stick with them and see it through. I really hope he does well. He's a pleasure to work with. He's incredibly professional. And I know the players respect him. I know his relationship with the players is good. I know he'll be sitting down with them today to have a long, hard think about what went wrong yesterday, expecting a reaction and expecting to put it right.
Let's find out whether a true Hammers legend shares Karen Brady's optimism. Joining us now from a West Ham, Everton and Leicester striker, Tony Coddy. Morning, TC.
Morning, Jeff.
Tony. TC, is there any reason to feel optimistic after what happened at the weekend?
Not after what I went through over the course of the weekend, Jeff. Like 6 hours up to Sunderland to watch the game, then 6 hours back. I even went past Hartlepool on the way there, Jeff. It was a long, long journey, and what a start to the season. Do you know what, Jeff? They was okay in the first half, West Ham. They sort of controlled the game. Didn't really look like scoring, but second half, first and foremost, fair play to Sunderland. Their fans were brilliant. They were so welcoming. They're really passionate and they deserve their day, you know. But from West Ham's point of view, the second half was a disaster. You just couldn't take anything out of that. And I agree with Karen Brady. It's going to take time and they've got to support the manager. But, you know, you need results. Football's about results. And, you know, nice easy one on Friday, though, Jeff. Chelsea at home.
Oh, Tony, you mentioned it there, and Karen Brady, you know, has to be complimented for what she's saying there. He does need time, and by the sounds of things, he'll get time. However, we know what football fans are like, and already you can hear the grumblings from the West Ham fans, mate. Will that have an effect on the board, even at this ridiculously early stage?
Not at the moment, Ali. You know, listen, you can say what you want about the West Ham board. They've been in place for, 15 years now. The one thing they are is very loyal to the managers. Yeah. Sometimes it goes on a bit too long. I'm off the top of my head, Avram Grant was the prime example where he should have gone and he didn't. They got relegated at the end of the season. So it can work the other way. But, you know, I think from the point of view of being loyal to managers, they deserve great credit for that. But, you know, Ali, of course it's about managers and you've got to get your selection right now. But sometimes the players have got to stand up and be counted. Sunderland scored, heady goals? 2 heady goals, and West Ham are playing 3 centre-halves. You know, if you're a centre-half, you've got to head the ball clear. You can't have, the lad who scored the first goal, he looked smaller than our 3 centre-halves. And it was such a poor goal to concede. The biggest problem at West Ham at the moment, and I think I touched on it with you guys a couple of weeks ago, there's no legs in midfield. You know, Rodriguez, I don't see what he brings to the table. Ward-Prowse is a good footballer, but there's no athleticism there. There's no pace. There's no one who can get up and down. You know, of course we miss Declan Rice. I get that. And, you know, Declan would be perfect in there now, but he's gone. And they've got to try and replace him. They need to get someone in there who can get about the midfield. You know, Jeff, the new lad on the left, he was starved of service. We don't look like scoring goals, which is another big problem, Ali. But, you know, the manager can tinker with the formation and the player and then the system, but ultimately the players have to take responsibility, and they've got to go and get some results, because otherwise West Ham are going to be something like played 6 and not won a game, and then there will be real pressure on the manager.
Yeah. I mean, what's happened with the recruitment there, Tony?
Been dreadful, Jeff. Absolutely dreadful at times, hasn't it? They seem to go and get players, but the players don't always fit into the system. I mean, they paid a lot of money for Fulkrug. He didn't look like scoring at the weekend. And as I said, Jeff, if you don't sign the players to click into the team, in other words, a midfield player, you know, those two played, and then you look for players to come on. Alvarez, who's not an athletic player. You've got Souček, not an athletic player. Freddie Potts, good player, but not an athletic player. There's no one to come on and give you any sort of variation. It's not just me saying it, Jeff. It's all the West Ham fans. They can all see it. But, you know, West Ham have to go out and get, you know, 1 or 2 midfield players that are going to give some legs to the team, or get a bit of pace up front. You know, Harvey Elliott's been linked. Try and get someone like that in. They've got to get some pace into that team.
I mean, there's no question about that, TC.
Looking at the West Ham team, TC, I mean, sorry, mate, I was no problem at all, mate. I was just going to say, the one thing about Fulkrug, TC, I think you mentioned maybe a lack of pace in the middle of the park. I think somebody like Fulkrug needs service. By service, I mean crosses into the box. Have you got enough in wider areas? Bowen's an absolutely tremendous player. A player I think will score goals and he'll do your team proud. But somebody, the other centre forward like Fulkrug, I think he needs service, particularly from wide areas.
Yeah, I think the main players, Ali, you know, like, I mean, you mentioned Jared, you know, fantastic player, but he seemed to get more frustrated, especially in the second half, and he didn't get involved in, you know, the latter part of the game. Paqueta had one of those games. He's a wonderful player, but, you know, sometimes he can give the ball away and he doesn't get involved. He was like that on Saturday. Fulkrug, as I said, he just wasn't involved in the game. But they didn't get the ball wide. You know, it was so, Ali, modern day football, pass. Just get the ball wide and just get some crosses in. You know, the earlier the cross comes in, the better it is for the centre forward. And, you know, I felt sorry for Jeff, you know, making his debut at left back, and he was screaming for the ball. And he just didn't really get the ball in a position where he could cross it. And it was just unfortunately one of them games where everything went wrong. And to lose 3-0 at Sunderland, you know, even if you play poorly and nick a point and draw 0-0 or something, at least you've got something to work with. But I think they'd be scratching their head down the training ground today, because, you know, there just wasn't hardly anything to take out of it. The goalkeeper had a bit of a nightmare, and I'm a fan of the goalkeeper. He was at fault probably for a couple of the goals, you know, so there just wasn't a lot to take out of that performance at Sunderland.
So, TC, after that result and what you've seen, what would be a good season for West Ham?
Well, a good season for West Ham, Jeff, is, as always, and it should always be the target for the club, is to finish in the top 10. You know, I think a disappointing season for West Ham is finish 9th, 10th, 11th. If they do well, they can try and nick a 6th or 7th place spot, get in the Conference League, which obviously they've done so well in a couple of years ago. That's the aim for the club in terms of Premier League. In the Cups, they've got to do better. West Ham have never won the League Cup. They've got to try, you know, you've got to try and put that right. They've got Wolves away. It's not a good draw, is it, next week? And do a little bit better in the FA Cup, you know, because the Cups can be, as, you know, Palace found out and Newcastle won the League Cup last year. It's a great route and a great way to get into Europe, plus all the glamour of going to Wembley and winning the games. That's what the fans want. They love the European nights were fantastic. But at the moment, Jeff, you know, European football seems a million miles away for West Ham at the moment. You know, I think they're going to finish in the bottom half, but the way they've started, and, you know, with those games, Chelsea home, Forest away, Spurs at home, Palace at home, Everton away, Arsenal away, Jeff. You know, as a West Ham fan, you're looking at that this morning, first 7 games, how many points they're going to get? And as I say, you get to that cut-off point after the Arsenal game, then, you know, it's all right saying we back the manager and everything, but, you know, Graham will be under great pressure. And I'm a big fan of Graham Potter as well. I want him to do well. But, you know, he's got to try and come up with the solution, and the players have got to do better as well. They've got to take responsibility and get the recruitment right. So that it's all those ingredients that have got to be chucked into the mix to make West Ham.
Very briefly, TC, what are you expecting from Everton tonight?
I think they're going to do well this year, Ali. I think, you know, they've got a wonderful manager in David Moyes. They've got that new stadium that's going to be worth 10 points a season to them before they've even started. It's going to be phenomenal. Tough game at Leeds, obviously, tonight, but I think they might nick a draw. And my early prediction, I think Everton will finish in the top 10. I'm not saying they're going to get into Europe, but I think they'll be in the top 10. I think that they're going to have a good season.
TC, your big mistake was driving past Hartlepool. You could have stopped and seen Hartlepool beat Braintree 2-0.
It might have been more enjoyable, Jeff. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. TC, thanks a lot, mate.
Catch up with you soon, Jeff. Cheers, Ali.
Just two quick things. The first one is to do with the National League as well. Earlier on this morning, we said that Kelvin Davis had been sacked by Eastleigh. We did correct that later on. But Ray Murphy, who's the club secretary down there at Eastleigh, excellent secretary as well, said obviously there's no truth now. We know that. There are rumours that have been spread on social media. Kelvin, if you're having a lie-in this morning thinking you've got no job to go to, mate, get yourself out of bed because you haven't. Long may it continue. I'm not just saying this because every time I go to Eastleigh, the likes of Kelvin are absolutely fantastic. And one more story. I don't think it passed you by. You see this one, Coisty. Rui Barbosa, who's the Forest assistant manager, celebrating a Chris Wood goal at the weekend, hit his head on the dugout. He hit it so hard he needed 6 stitches.
Oh, my God.
So he's waking up with a headache this morning, that is for sure. But I'm sure Rui will think it's well worthwhile.
Oh, dear.
West Ham against Chelsea, by the way, live and exclusive on talkSPORT Friday night. 0-0 draw for Chelsea, of course, at the weekend. So they're looking for the 3 points as well. Coming up, Manchester United fans, we're taking your calls, 03717 223344. How positive are you after what you saw at the weekend? What changes did you see outside of the new signings that made you hopeful for the rest of the season? Arsenal fans, love to hear from you as well. Grinding out a 1-0 win. We'll take all your calls next.
For every good signing a club makes, there's bound to be a few that don't work out. And Man United have certainly had their fair share of those, especially since the end of their golden age under Sir Alex Ferguson. Here are just some of the Red Devils' worst signings since Fergie. First up, Alexis Sanchez. Sanchez joined United from Arsenal back in 2018 and became the highest paid player in the Prem. He'd averaged almost 1 goal every 2 games for the Gunners, but in his 45 games for Man United, he only managed 5 goals. Not what you want from a star striker. Next up, Radamel Falcao. He earned himself the nickname the Tiger for his sheer efficiency and the way he used to pounce upon the mistakes of defenders. But at Man United, he was way more pussycat than Tiger, to be honest. All he managed in 29 Man United games was 4 goals. Moving on, things couldn't have gone much worse for Jadon Sancho at Man United. Yeah, it would have been hard to outdo his Borussia Dortmund form, but 12 goals in 83 games is not great. Things got worse after a public fallout with manager Erik ten Hag. Sancho said he was being made a scapegoat. Ten Hag said there'd been a discipline issue. It all ended up with Sancho going back to Germany. Next, Erik ten Hag probably thought he was being smart in sticking to what he knew when he signed Antony from his former club Ajax. But the £86 million Brazilian hasn't really been able to hack it in the Prem. Chances are Antony's Man United days are numbered. Next, the curse of the Man United number 7 shirt. Not an easy act following Ronaldo, Cantona, Beckham and George Best. But Memphis Depay was another striker who was apparently allergic to scoring for United. He scored just 7 in 53 appearances, a huge letdown since he'd helped PSV win the Dutch league just a season before joining. Last one, Angel Di Maria was set to be United's landmark signing when he joined in 2014, but one season later he was already on his way out. 4 goals in 32 games was just not good enough, given he'd broken the British record transfer fee when he signed. And those are just a few examples. To be honest, the list could go on and on. Unfortunately, that's probably why Man United haven't won the Prem for a while, and why it might take a few more years before they're in contention again.
Good morning, very nearly 6 minutes past 9. It is Monday, August the 18th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ally McCoist and Donald Clark. Build your own car deal online, or with a few clicks, they make buying your next car easy. Now, we're taking your calls, United fans. Despite losing to Arsenal, are there reasons to be optimistic? Apparently not, if you listen to Piers Morgan.
I'm seeing Roy Keane attacking Arsenal for not scoring enough goals. And yet when I double-checked the score, it's still 1-0 to Arsenal away at Old Trafford.
Well, Piers was right about one thing. Only one. Arsenal took the points, but many seem to be heaping praise on Manchester United's performance. Apart from Lewis, who gave us a call earlier.
We ended last season with a 1-0 loss in the Europa League final, and he got all his tactics wrong, picked the wrong team, and he's done it again at the start of this season. He's won 27 points, Jeff, out of 28 league games since he's been there. It's a shocking record. It's not good enough. For me, he's not the man. I think he'll be gone by the end of the Christmas or end of the year. You're talking about managers. Will anyone be there sacked by Christmas? For me, he will be. We've got tough games coming up. All right, we might get something against Burnley next weekend, but we've got Liverpool coming up, City. If we're floundering nowhere, come November time, I think he'll be up for the chop December.
Well, Lewis is a proper Monday misery, isn't he? But I'm sure he's not typical of United fans. A lot of people have been texting in saying Lewis has to be a closet Arsenal fan. So, United fans, let's hear from you. Despite the loss, were there signs that Ruben Amorim is turning things around? 03717 223344 to get involved this morning. Let's head to the phone lines. Paul is a Manchester United fan. Morning, Paul.
Good morning, Paul.
Morning, guys. You all right?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Paul. So, Paul, did you see things that you liked, signs that Amorim's turning things around?
Well, yeah, I think it was clear for anyone other than Lewis. I honestly don't have a clue what Lewis was going on about. Cunha, like you said, Jeff, came into the game. He was quality. I even had my brother at the start of the game saying Cunha's awful, but honestly, he was the best player on the pitch. Bruno ran the midfield. Lewis said we need a new left back, and Dorgu was, I'd say, one of the best players on the pitch. The only thing that was terrible was literally the keeper. He had a hole in his hand.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's been defended by Amorim this morning. Would you like to see United go out and buy a new keeper?
Well, all last week there was reports, we're going to be in for Belieber, which was going to be 100 million. But obviously we're not in that race anymore. So we've obviously got money, so we should be going all out for Donnarumma, in my opinion. I don't think we'll get him, but after watching that yesterday, we saw Onana last season. We need a new keeper desperately.
I don't disagree at all. I think you make a fair point, and I said to Jeff earlier on the show, I think Donnarumma would be brilliant for you. I tell you who I thought did well. I'd like your opinion on it, Paul. Mason Mount.
Well, first half, he was quality. I think when second half started, he weren't really in the game much, but he's coming back, isn't he? He's building his fitness up. I'd like to see him do well. Like, a lot of people talk negative about him, but he's a good player. He won player of the player of the season at Chelsea, took 2 seasons of the bounce, so he is a good player.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Paul,
Definitely.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate.
What about John, who's also a United fan? Morning, John.
Good morning, John.
Morning, chaps. How are we doing?
Yeah,
we're good form, mate.
We're doing good, thanks, mate. So, look, do you agree with Lewis that things are still difficult at Manchester United, or can you see the green shoots of recovery?
I'm sorry, but that was an undercover Arsenal fan who rung up. That was shambles. Now, everything he said was totally wrong. I thought United played great. I thought everything that we did in the game was positive going forward. There's just a couple of little things that wasn't there that he should have done. Some players, I don't think he should have started with Casemiro. He should have played Mainu in there with the legs, or started with Agate. And I think he should have started with Sesko to give us that threat from the start. But I think the main problem, which everybody can see, not just United fans, is our goalkeeper problem. We've had a goalkeeper problem for 2 years now, and I don't agree with him saying that he's happy with what we've got. Bayern is not good enough. Onana, I don't know how we paid 70-odd million for him, just on a Champions League final display. I think that's why we bought him. I do think we need to go all out and not spend that 90 million for Belieber and spend it on Donnarumma.
John, just a quick one, mate. How important is it you keep Luke Shaw fit?
Brilliant. I thought he played amazing. But like you say, the main problem with him is his fitness. And I think that's with a couple of players like Mason Mount. I've always thought he's a brilliant player, but he just hasn't turned up and showed his class and quality. And I just think that it is coming. And I thought, I'd just like Piers Morgan to have a think about this. Was he happy with the way Arsenal played? Even though they won 1-0, they didn't score the goal. Bayern did.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. A lot of people talk about Arsenal saying, well, Gyökeres made no impact whatsoever. But actually, to me, that's a reflection on De Ligt, who I've not always been a big fan of, but I thought he was terrific at the weekend.
Yeah, did well.
It was brilliant. And also one thing that the VAR as well on Friday with that Liverpool incident, the handball was a shocking decision. I thought the way Saliba went through the back of Fernandes in the area, he didn't take the ball at all, and we should have had a penalty there. It didn't go to VAR. The ref didn't see it, and I just thought it was ridiculous. I'm still shocked now.
But a lot of encouragement, John. Thank you very much for the call.
Thanks, mate.
Let's hear from Ranjit, who's a United fan now. Morning, Ranjit.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Very well, thank you.
What did you make of it?
I thought it was a fantastic performance overall. I think I read a stat somewhere yesterday where we had 20 shots on goal or on target or something or the other. And the last time that happened against Arsenal was when we beat them 8-2 a good few seasons ago. Despite losing 1-0, that's got to probably be the best 1-0 loss at Old Trafford from a Man United perspective. But yeah, I think it was a really, really good performance overall. The crowd were really engaged. I think there was a bit of excitement there because of the new signings. There were some mini battles on the pitch, most notably De Ligt versus Gyökeres. So yeah, I think it was a really, really good performance. I think that the only thing that really concerns me is probably the same things as last year, where during the transition on the counter, we didn't really have the legs in the middle of the park, and just like the last caller said, probably would have suggested going for a Mainu or an Agate right from the off rather than Casemiro, because when he was running back, he was really struggling. So yeah, I think the players, the new signings, everyone seem a bit more together. They all look physically fitter as well. They look a bit more positive. There's less There's less arms in the air. It's just all round. I think it was a really, really good performance, and they can only take sort of positive vibes from it going forward into the rest of the season. Albeit, yes, it is a very, very long season as well.
Ranjit, thank you very much.
All right, mate.
Sorry, Kosi. I was going to say, Ranjit mentioned Ugarte there and maybe should have started. But actually, when he came on, I thought he really struggled. And you got a text from Stuart here saying, you know, I'm not a Man United fan, but what a change. If they buy a powerful midfielder and a commanding goalkeeper, they'll make top 5.
Well, it's amazing, Jeff, because the goalkeeping thing has to get sorted out. I mean, and I said it earlier, Donnarumma, I think, if they could get him, it'd be perfect for him. But it's interesting. A lot of the guys that have been coming on, I'm in total agreement with. I think there's a lack of legs in the middle of the park, in particular for United, and I think they've got to address that, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely on the United agenda, isn't it? Goalkeeper and a powerful midfielder. That's the view of Stuart. I think we would concur as well. 9:14 coming up. Ali, unfortunately for him, was at Villa Park at the weekend. How concerned should Villa fans be by that performance? Are they in danger of dropping out of the top 10 this season? Good morning, 9:18. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist. Is with a lot of texts with the same sort of theme, if you like. Julian says, while I accept Manchester United played better yesterday than they did last season, it's a sign of how far they've sunk that 90% of their fans seem genuinely chuffed following a 1-0 home defeat to their traditional rivals. Phil in Liverpool has the same message, put even more briefly. Love these Manchester United fans. Beaten 1-0 at home and they're made up. OK, we've had a Manchester United perspective. Let's hear from some Arsenal fans, shall we? 03717 223344 is the number to call. Darren Zaguna, he's given us a call. He's not happy with the United fans. Morning, Darren.
Morning, Darren.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. Yeah, to be honest with you, it's not even just about Man United fans. I just think the whole Premier League, the standard is so poor. The fact, I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I think that this Arsenal team going forward is absolutely appalling. And the fact that we still went to Old Trafford yesterday and got a result, and the Man United fans are happy with that. We've got a player in Gyökeres who's played about 10 minutes of football, you know, and everyone's expecting him to hit the ground running. And like I say, I mean, don't get me wrong, Man United's new attackers, they did look good, but at the end of the day, they didn't stick the ball in the back of the net, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. And it's a ground where over the years you've struggled a bit as well, Darren, you know? So 3 points there and a clean sheet in the opening game.
Yeah, but we've gone there in the past, Jeff, and we've absolutely dominated, and we've come away without the result. So you know, it's just one of those things. But like I say, the fact, I mean, I have to put this out there. Like I say, I'm an Arsenal fan, and all of these Arsenal fans and these Arsenal fan channels and all that think Arsenal are in contention to win the league are absolutely having a laugh, because going forward, like I say, players like Martinelli and Odegaard will end up getting Arteta the sack, because they're just not good enough. They're not good enough going forward. Totally blunt in attack, you know, and you can't expect to win the league when you're competing against the attacking players of Liverpool and Man City.
Yeah, Darren, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for the call, mate.
Let's hear from Dan, who's an Arsenal fan. Morning, Dan.
Morning, Dan.
Morning, guys. You're right.
Yeah, very good. What did you make of it all?
Well, basically, I'm not quite as negative as that last caller, but I would say this is going to be a very balanced view, because I'm not one of these AFTV guys that goes off on one, and I always give myself a few hours to mull it over. So basically, United fans need to be going away from Old Trafford and thinking to themselves, if we can't beat Arsenal when they play that badly, and we apparently have played like Brazil 1970, then they really are miles behind everyone else. Now, don't get me wrong, if we'd have been at Man City or Liverpool yesterday, we would have been absolutely torn to shreds, because that is one of the worst Arsenal performances I've seen for a very, very long time. We had one decent game in pre-season. The last caller was right about Gyökeres, particularly the bigger, bulkier guys. They take a little bit longer to get up to it physicality-wise, which Gyökeres is. He's a big boy. He's a big old unit. So he's had virtually no time because of the drawn-out, transfer saga that was him coming to us. But we are going to have to improve massively, and we will do, and I think that's a real concern for the rest, because we've got 3 points at Old Trafford and played really, really badly.
Dan, I think your point's a valid one, because if I'm Manchester United, you've got to take positives from the game, and in particular new signings. But equally, from Arsenal's point of view, mate, you and I both know you will play far better than you did yesterday. However, what do we say every week? The sign of a good team, the sign of a team that wins titles, is winning 3 points, particularly on the road when you don't play particularly well.
100%. And if we were talking and it was 1997, we probably would have lost 8-2 again with a performance like that. But our strength in depth is spot on. Our defence, we are so hard to break down. Gabriel and Saliba, when they don't do the attractive Rolls-Royce type defending, they'll throw themselves in front of absolutely everything. So they've got that about them as well. They've got that never say die Tony Adams approach, but they've also got that calm, composed approach when they need to as well. And every team's going to be a bit rusty. I thought Liverpool were fortunate with their forward line, their attackers, and again, Salah made the difference. But that game could have easily ended up 2-2 or maybe even 3-2 to Bournemouth. And I think it's just testimony to whoever wins the league this season, I genuinely think will be winning the toughest strength in depth Premier League that we've seen for a very, very long time.
Dan, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Cheers, Dan.
Cheers.
A lot of people having fun at Manchester United's expense. Rob in North Wales says, morning, Jeff and Ali. I'm heading to Manchester for work today. Could you let me know when the open top bus parade is celebrating the 1-0 defeat so I know where to avoid? Thank you, Rob. Very mischievous. Right, we've got some breaking news for you. Let's cross to our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, right now for the very latest on Johan Wissa's future.
Good morning, guys. I have a big transfer update for you. It surrounds the future of Johan Wissa. Newcastle keen to take the Brentford striker to St James's Park, but I'm told Brentford continue to make it difficult for Wissa to get that move. Of course, he did down tools earlier this summer and refused to train with his teammates, wasn't involved in Brentford's defeat against Forest yesterday. We thought once they completed the signing of Dongo Ouattara in a club record £42.5 million deal from Bournemouth, that may soften Brentford's resolve, but I'm told the hierarchy there see him as a Brian Mbeumo replacement. So what does that mean for Wissa? Well, basically they're going to have to sign an extra forward in order to facilitate a move, or it will take a big money offer from Newcastle, I'm told in excess of £60 million to persuade them to do a deal. On Wissa's part, he still expects the move to happen. Talks between the two clubs will resume this week, but maybe his departure not as straightforward as it first looked.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah, I'd be surprised if Newcastle went to pay £60 million for him, good player that he is. But where does that leave Brentford if they've left with a player that doesn't want to be there? I mean, it's very much Alexander Isak Mark II.
Well, it is. Exactly as you know, and you and I are probably in agreement. There's a certain way of doing things and going about things, and I don't think Isak has done it the right way. But down in tools is certainly something that I am so against. It's unbelievable. But the fact of the matter is, you've got to look at managers and coaches, and they don't want players in their dressing room that's going to cause unrest and are not happy and want away. And it's all very well saying, well, I'll just throw him in the reserves, do this, do that, do the next thing. I've got to have a lot of sympathy here for Keith Andrews. There's no doubt about that. Because if Brentford lose him, and it looks like they are going to lose him, then they're going to be... We saw at the weekend how short they are. They've already lost arguably one of their best players, if not their best player, to Manchester United. So yeah, I think it's going to be really tough times ahead for Keith Andrews and Brentford, because I think they will lose him. Because if I'm Eddie Howe, flip side of the coin, it's the same situation. I'm going to sell Isak. I'm going to get as much as I possibly can for him, because I don't effectively want him around the dressing room and having that influence. So he's going to try and get Visa. Where does it leave Keith Andrews? He now realises he's probably going to lose him, but he wants to get somebody in, and time's running out. So it's a kind of snowball effect. But in terms of player, I think a few of the players have let themselves down in the way they've handled things in terms of wanting away from their clubs, Jeff.
It's hard not to feel for Keith Andrews, isn't it?
Yes.
He's one game in to his managerial career, and people are already asking questions. I'm sure the Brentford hierarchy are not going to take a blind bit of notice. But at what stage would he become under pressure, do you think, Ali? How many games before a brand new manager is under pressure?
Oh, dear me. Whether I think it's right or wrong, Jeff, well, I don't think it's right, but probably half a dozen, mate. It's just so important, particularly at that level, for clubs like Brentford to maintain their top flight status. It's just so important, because if they drop down, we've seen what can happen to big clubs when they drop down into that Champions, how difficult it might be. So the pressure on owners to pull the trigger is probably as high as it's ever been. And I don't know, mate. I'm thinking half a dozen games. I don't think it's fair, but I think that's where we are, just with football at the moment.
Because Brentford have been so successful in recent seasons,
they've been brilliant.
With Thomas Frank, we don't really know what their attitude would be to failure if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting into a very, very difficult situation there, Keith Andrews, because straight away, it's a big pair of shoes he's walking into. Because the job Thomas Frank did at Brentford was absolutely nothing short of remarkable, right? So that's tough in itself. And then you start off by losing your key players. So you're right behind the 8 ball straight away, Jeff. I mean, it's a difficult job he's got.
It isn't. In recent seasons, their home form's been, the atmosphere down. Looking at their home games, listen to the home games that he starts with. Villa at home next, then Chelsea at home, Manchester United at home, Manchester City at home, Liverpool at home, Newcastle at home. For goodness sake. That is so difficult. But look, best of luck to Keith Andrews. One game in, for goodness sake. Nobody can be making judgments on him yet. Coming up, we turn our attention to Leeds versus Everton, live and exclusive on talkSPORT tonight. Have Leeds done enough in the summer to compete in the Premier League? We'll discuss that next.
Every spring, sports fans in Europe come together to celebrate arguably rugby's biggest annual tournament, the Six Nations. But why is it the home nations, plus France and Italy, and no one else? It all started back in 1871 when Scotland beat England in the very first international rugby match. A few years later, when they could field a team, Wales decided they'd host England and an idea was thought up. With Ireland keen, they formed the Home International Championship, which ran from 1883. In 1910, France was allowed to join, as they were developing into a serious rugby nation, and thus the Five Nations was born. France had an interesting history with the championship. They were actually booted out for paying their players in 1931, when the home nations were keen to keep it amateur. After World War II, though, France were let back in, but it remained a closed shop for more than 50 years. And when another country was let in, it was only really because the Five Nations hand had been forced. Italy was developing into a serious contender, beating Scotland, France and Ireland twice in the same year, meaning in 1999 officials got together and said yes to Italy, and it became the Six Nations. So what changes, if any, come next? 7 nations? 8? A promotion and relegation system? Or should we leave it alone and let it remain the great rugby tradition it's become?
Yeah, it didn't last long, did it? This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, on the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and opt into Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me today. That was how the big fight sounded, of course, on Saturday. 119 seconds it took Moses Atoma to do the business against Dillian White. He said he didn't want to stay in the ring for too long. And afterwards, Tyson Fury said Atoma will go on to wreck all the old men in the division. What do you think, Coyce? It was short and sweet if you're Moses Atoma, that's for sure.
Oh, it was impressive. Let's be honest about it. I was looking forward to it. As I said to you, I listened to the commentary. The commentary was brilliant for the boys. I've got to say, as usual, got it spot on. It's just a matter who does he fight next. I mean, I'll be honest, it's crazy. I don't want him to see fight Usyk, right? I'd rather see him fight probably Joseph Parker or somebody like that, Jeff. But there's no getting away from it. He is one extremely exciting talent that's going to go a long, long way.
Yeah, it was a brilliant performance. Brief, but brilliant from Moses Atoma. Maybe Joseph Parker next, you'd feel that would probably make sense, wouldn't it? But
yeah, I think
you do wonder if Atoma's too dangerous for any of them to truly want to get in the ring with him. Yeah. Time will tell. Now, one more game to complete the opening Premier League weekend, and it is an absolute cracker.
Off goes the champagne, and Leeds United can officially celebrate being promoted to the Premier League.
Ellen Road can be a really intimidating place, whatever level that you're playing at.
Here goes Bogle, setting up another one for Peru. Could it be two?
You can't keep being that yo-yo team. This club's too big for that.
Leeds are a club that should be in the Premier League as much as any club should be anywhere.
The last seasons have proved how difficult it is for newly promoted sides to stay in this league. On this level, you never say never, and you never know what happens.
Now Njai with a great one forward. Curling shot! Anyone Njai!
David Moyes brought that bit of stability, and there's been a good few signings this year that excite me.
Some breaking news: Jack Grealish has officially signed for Everton on loan from Man City.
Great chance, great opportunity, perfect manager as well, who would understand him as a person.
Pleased with the players we've added to the squad, but I think I still need more.
Monday nights is game night. Every time there's football on a Monday, we've got it here.
Yeah, great night for Leeds United fans. They're back in the Premier League after a couple of years away. They begin at home to Everton, who've had an impressive run, haven't they? And David Moyes at the end of last season, at least. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has swapped Goodison Park for Elland Road, may start this evening. Joining us for more now, former Leeds and Everton striker Jermaine Beckford. Morning, Jermaine.
Good morning, Jermaine.
Boys, how are we? Morning.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Really
Top
good,
form.
mate. Look, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is it risky for Leeds to pin their hopes on him, given his injury issues?
Do you know what? This is quite an interesting subject, because I had a conversation with Dominic the day before he signed, when he was doing his medical at Leeds. And one of the questions that I asked him was based around how his injury record may or may not hamper him. And one of the things that I got from him was the maturity that came back. He said, I wasn't quite mature enough to say I wasn't ready to come back and play. I kind of pushed myself a little bit too much, a little bit too soon. Now I'm in a much better mindset, a much better frame of mind. I'm feeling physically great. He looks fantastic, by the way. He kind of made me feel a little bit embarrassed about my own physique. But just looking at just listening to what he's saying, looking into his eyes and hearing the words that are coming out from his mouth, I actually believe that this is going to be the best version, or one of the best versions of Dominic Calvert-Lewin we've seen.
Jermaine, tell me, mate, in recent seasons, it's clearly been extremely difficult for the newly promoted sides to stay in the league. But looking at Leeds in particular and Sunderland, home form, I think this year will be different. I think, certainly one of the three clubs, perhaps two, will stay up. How important, after looking at the weekend, how important is home form, and particularly the home crowd?
It's vital. Listen, this is one of those conversations we have almost on a yearly basis. If you're able to have a relatively solid form at home, performances and results, you give yourself half a chance, especially for the newly promoted sides. Now, when you look at the acquisitions that Leeds United have made, that Sunderland have made, and Burnley to an extent as well, you could even argue all three of them have definitely strengthened, but who do you think has strengthened the most? I actually think, and I'm not saying it because I'm Leeds United, but I think Leeds have strengthened really, really well. They've got two very good players in every single position, and the type of player, the caliber of player, Leeds United are going for a slightly different outlook this season. Almost, you look at the size of the players they're bringing in. They're bringing in players that are over 6 foot. And the last time Leeds were in the Premier League, they had 1 or 2 issues with set pieces, defending set pieces. And that was because the majority of the players were under 6 feet tall. So it was almost an easy target. Now, the shoe's on the other foot. Defensively, Leeds are looking much better. I was in Dublin, incidentally, watching them play against AC Milan. And although it didn't excite me, the performance, defensively and the organisation of these players and the physicality, I'm looking forward to what this season holds.
We all talk about the atmosphere at Ellen Road, Jermaine, especially under the lights, I would imagine. But we can only talk about it. You've experienced it. What is it like for a player to play there?
Well, it depends if you're on the home team or the away team. When you're on the home team, oh my gosh, there's no better feeling. You've got every single one of the fans behind you, cheering you on, and how many times have we heard it's like having the 12th man on your team? It feels exactly like that. It feels like you're playing with a player extra. When you're on the opposition team, and I've been there once or twice, it's such an intimidating place. Again, it's something I spoke to Dominic about. He scored against Leeds United for Everton, incidentally, a couple of times in his Everton career. And he said it's intimidating. He's looking forward to having the Leeds fans on his side this time. So if that's any indication, I'm glad to be on the bench, on the touchlines.
Jermaine, what are you expecting from Everton tonight? Because obviously David Moyes, I think he's done a fantastic job since he's gone back to Everton. The place is on fire, new stadium, everything, the whole thing's completely taken off. So, I mean, from their point of view, obviously Jack Grealish going there as well, which I think is a terrific sign, and Jack will just want to go in and play and express himself. What are you expecting from Everton this season?
Well, look, having worked with David Moyes as well, knowing what he's like when he's at Everton as a manager, he likes his teams to be organised, structured, disciplined. But when you bring in players like Jack Grealish, Keenan Dewsbury-Hall, Barry up top, he's affording those guys a little bit more freedom to express themselves. And he's got 6, 7 or 8 players going to be behind those players defensively, backing them up, just almost a support act. But then when you've got those players with the creative flair, the goal scoring prowess that they possess as well, it's going to be very, very exciting from a neutral perspective, because both teams are looking very good offensively. Defensively, there may be 1 or 2 slight question marks over both sides, but I think that's because no games have been played yet. But I'm looking forward to it. And it's a new start. Look, Everton, new stadium, as you mentioned there, new players, same manager, organised.
Yeah, I mean, season after season for Everton, Jermaine, season after season, it's been a struggle against relegation. Could they be dreaming of what? Top
Better
10
times?
finish this season?
Do you know what? I don't see why not. Since David Moyes took over this second time, Everton have finished the top 10, I think, top 11. If you count the points tally from when he took over until the end of the season. So when you take that into account, you look at the acquisitions that he's brought in, you look at him having a full pre-season behind him as well. I don't see why not. I really don't see why they can't go for a top 10, top half finish.
Jermaine, thank you very much. Really looking forward to it tonight.
Enjoy the game.
Thank you, boys. Have a great day. Take care.
Thanks. Leeds against Everton, live and exclusive on talkSPORT tonight. 8 o'clock kickoff coverage at 7 with Adrian Durham, Sam Matterface and Troy Deeney. And don't forget that this Sunday, Game Day Live comes from Everton's new home, the Hill Dickinson Stadium, as they host Brighton. My lad will be there. Coming up, we ask Ali, do Chelsea need to spend even more money if they're going to challenge for the title?
Good morning, 9:48. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Now it's time for the return of everyone's favourite, Ask Ali.
Ask me, ask me, ask me. Here's Ali McCoist. Oh, he's done it. Ali McCoist from Rangers.
Are you winding me up? No, I'm deadly serious. You know where the creator of the Rubik's Cube came from? Came from Czechoslovakia. So there you are, have some of that.
You need to introduce me to this Tinder. Is it dangerous? You're a pair of numpties, so you are.
Let's be having you! Let's be having you!
Oh, gee, was I?
You were only supposed to blow up a bloody door.
What's that? Yeah, I've nailed it, man. I've nailed it.
Yeah, that's right. Time to put Ali in the hot seat and fire some questions at him from the weekend. Man City gone under the radar slightly. Fantastic 4-0 win over Wolves. A lot of the talk this season about signings has been about the likes of Wirtz and Zubimendi. But what about Reinders? I mean, he really announced himself, Coisty. Could he turn out to be one of the signings of the summer?
He quite easily could, Jeff. Absolutely outstanding performance from him at the weekend. My player to watch this season was Ryan Cherky, and I know he came off the bench and scored, and I think he's an exceptional player and will do really well. But I tell you what, mate, I was not half impressed with that performance from Reinders. He was all over the place, and his contribution was absolutely fantastic. Everything's a bit early, isn't it? Of course it is. We can predict managers getting the sack and who's going to win the league and what's going to happen. But the one thing that isn't up for debate, that was one of the performances of the weekend. And that 4-0 victory against Wolves, and I think it was that. I was and I still am really looking forward to watching Manchester City this season. I'll tell you why, Jeff, because I think it's the first time, perhaps in a long time, there's indeed scrutiny and pressure on Guardiola to see how he reacts to, particularly that poor disastrous period they had last season. And everyone will say, well, it was only Wolves and they've lost 8 Nuri and obviously Cunha as well. But I tell you what, they didn't have to dismantle them.
Yeah, they certainly did. Bit of a worry for Wolves, it has to be said. But look, transfer window's still open. Chelsea Club World champions, of course. They opened the season with a goalless draw against Crystal Palace. Do you think Chelsea need to spend again, Coisty, if they're a challenge for the title? Do they lack experience? I mean, obviously they've lost Colwell at the back.
He's a big loss. I don't think they need to spend again. I mean, are we seriously talking about a team that's just won the World Club Championship here needing to spend to win the league? You know, I don't think so. They just need to keep progressing. They've got a fantastic squad of players, Jeff. They really have. And in João Pedro, I think that they're another team that have made a wonderful signing. I just think we're getting a little bit carried away because Crystal Palace are an excellent team, Jeff. Excellent. I saw them in the cup final. I saw them win the Community Shield. I watched the highlights yesterday. If they can keep, the question mark will be whether they can keep their players, and it doesn't look as though they will before the window shuts, sadly for Crystal Palace. But at this moment in time, Crystal Palace are one of the teams like your supposed big teams would not want to play. Yeah. Any of them wouldn't want to play them. They're a good side.
I thought the young boy Esteval, when he came on, was exciting, breath of fresh air. Ali, do you think Forest, who opened their season with an impressive home win against Brentford, will they be in the mix for a Champions League place again this season?
I hope so, but no. I really do hope so. I've got to say, they last year, an absolute breath of fresh air, mate. They really were. And it was one of my favourite places to go and watch them. Atmosphere in the stadium, brilliant. A lot of the old boys around the place, just loving what Nuno and his team were doing. And my only reason for saying it, Jeff, is I just think the number of games will catch up to them. And I know they're trying to bring players in, and I know they're making some good signings. That's an absolute must for them. Absolute must for them if they're going to compete in all fronts, because we know how difficult that is to do. But I just think, I'm not for a minute going to say last season was a flash in the pan. It was a brilliant season. But if you're going to ask me, do I think they'll be in the mix for Champions League places? No, I think that'll be beyond them. Due to the fact the number of games they've got, and I think there'll be improvement in the sides around them as well that have spent money on big players.
You were at the Villa-Newcastle game. Neither side really looked threatening in front of goal. Ali, I'm going to qualify this question. Are Villa in danger of going backwards this season? And is it down to PSR? Because obviously Jacob Ramsey's left and gone to Newcastle. We've seen statements this week from John McGinn and from Tyrone Mings that says, don't want to hear any bad words or anything negative about Ramsey. You do not know the half of it, he says. A sad day losing a top player in person and one of our own, but it seems to be the way football is set up these days.
Correct. And I read John McGinn's... Was that Tyrone Mings' comment?
That was Tyrone Mings, yeah.
Right, well, I read Wee John's as well, equally complimentary about the player and how sad it was that he had to leave the club and all that stuff. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it is. Jeff, you somebody need to explain to me the logic, right? The logic that it's financially beneficial to sell your homegrown talent, which is everything against what it should be. If you're a football fan, Jeff, and you're a football fan of no matter what club it is, what do you love as much as anything watching your team? It's boys that have come through the academy. It's boys that have grown up supporting the club. It's boys that are effectively your own. That's what football fans love as much as anything. And now we've brought in something that actually encourages football clubs to move them on and sell them. How can that be right? How somebody needs to tell me how that can be right. It can't be right, Jeff. It's a lot of nonsense. And of course, Villa's hands have been tied by that situation. The question is, are they in danger of going backwards this season? Oh, they're in danger of it because, you know, last season and they've been terrific. I don't think it will happen, though. Are they in danger of it? Yeah, they could. But I don't think it will happen. I actually think they were poor at the weekend, particularly in the first half. I mentioned to you at the start of the show, Jeff, there was an improvement second half. There had to be, by the way, because they were very disappointing first half against an excellent Newcastle side who played well and probably should have won the game. They came into the game 15 minutes into the second half, and Unai Emery was correct in saying that. But he's not a daft man. He knows he didn't play well enough first half. He knows the second half they to change the formation when Konza gets sent off and Kamara gets back and plays exceptionally well in that position. So it's totally wrong. And I say it again, it's impossible to judge Aston Villa on that one performance, and it would be absolutely wrong to do it. I don't think they'll take a step back. And I actually don't think they'll qualify for Champions League places in the top four, but I think they'll have a good season.
Still got good players. That's the gist of it. Still got good players. And still got a top manager as well, by the way.
Exactly.
Finally, Ali, as a former player turned broadcaster, what on earth do you make of half-time interviews in live games?
Well, how's this? I'm going to tell you right now. I love them from where I'm sitting right now. I think they're fantastic. You know what's coming, don't you?
Yeah.
You know what's coming, Jeff. I love them because from our point of view, sitting watching them, listening to them, magic. If I was being interviewed, I'd hate them. Simple as that. If I was a coach, a manager or a player, I would not want to be interviewed at half-time because I'd want to get straight up the tunnel. I'd want to have a chat with my team, my teammates, whatever it may be. But sitting on this side of the fence, they're great, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, to be absolutely honest. It was Martin Odegaard, wasn't it, yesterday? I have to be honest, mate. Half-time whistle went to the adverts. I went to get myself a cup of tea and a biscuit. And it all happened by the time I got back ready for the second half.
Well, I need to be honest with you, mate. I think he's a terrific player, but he didn't miss much.
Fantastic. Ali, love this morning. You're back with me in London tomorrow. Excellent news.
I'll be in the studio with you tomorrow, mate. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we can look back on the Leeds game against Everton, of course, and we look ahead because it's Club Brugge and Rangers, of course, tomorrow night in the Champions League qualifier. What a big game that is. We'll see you in the morning, Coisty.
You too, mate.
Up next, Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown.